How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the James Loud Podcast. And today our special guest is Ngaio.
That's right. Ngaio Bealum.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And he's an actor. He's a comedian. He's an activist. He is hilarious.
A writer.
Among other things, he's a writer.
Yeah.
He knows Angela Baca, my editor. Actually, he knows a lot of my friends.
I've done editing for your editor.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. I used to run a magazine back in the day.
Which magazine?
West Coast Cannabis Magazine.
That's awesome. That was a great magazine.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Shout out to Hara Lee, who did all the layouts.
Hara Lee did the layout of my book.
Hara Lee is a beast. She's a monster. She's
She
incredible.
Yeah.
She's incredible. And shout out to my boy Mike. Who was the salesman, and he's also a monster and a beast. It was just the three of us. We ran that magazine, and it was great for like 3 years.
I remember all the good magazines. There were so many good magazines over the years that had small runs. Red Eye magazine.
Yeah.
There was International Canographic magazine.
Oh, right.
Just to name a few. There was, throwing some stuff out there. Some old school, awesome magazines.
Yeah, this is like
besides
2005, 2006, around in there, because a lot of the weekly magazines weren't taking cannabis ads back then, right? So there was space.
There was space. And
I talked Richard Lee into giving me some money to start a magazine.
Well, speaking of Richard Lee, I just did a Oaksterdam class today. So I was on Oaksterdam. I taught a 3-hour class on horticulture.
Nice.
So yeah,
they say you can take a horticulture.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah,
I don't know the rest of it.
I know
you can take a horse to water as well.
You can totally take a horse to water. Yeah.
You can take a horse to water, but a pencil must be lead. All right. We'll keep moving on. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, yeah. So I taught a class at Oaksterdam today. It was a lot of fun.
On horticulture. Like pheno hunting or just the general?
Me, I like to go off topic. So, of course, we went into pheno hunting. And I'm one of those guys. I enjoy talking about what I enjoy talking about. The class was really amazing. There was a lot of people from an Indian reservation. We had people from all over the Canary Islands, I believe Colombia.
Wow.
Over 40 people in the class. It was a lot of fun. I love Oaksterdam because it used to be a very in-person thing. Then COVID happened. And now it's basically open to everyone all over the world.
Internationally.
It's great having people excited about cannabis all over the world. I love it. I think we're in this beautiful time in a lot of places. And I talked about it in my class today. It is a beautiful time. I think it's scary for some people. Some people are very upset about the way things are, but it's always been that way. So for cannabis, not as many people are going to prison.
That's the important thing.
Yeah, and I think we just got a whole bunch of pardons for cannabis prisoners.
Yes.
And that is freaking amazing. The one thing that's happened in the last year was that just recently, not in the last year, in the last week, we have people getting out of prison for cannabis crimes that they never should have been put in prison for.
No one should ever go to jail for weed anywhere in the world, ever.
No.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Ever.
I cannot stress this enough.
I agree.
Never, ever, ever.
Yeah.
Weed is a plant.
It's a plant.
It's a very useful plant. I'm still one of those old school Jack Hare, hemp can save the planet. You know what I mean? We all should be taking advantage of this beautiful and glorious plant, which does so much for humans. And, not to get all woo-woo about it, but for real.
No, but cannabis can make the world a better place. And for me, it's impossible to argue. It has every day. It has in my life, in your life, and so many other people around us.
Right.
It's made their world a better place. And I think it has the power to change people's minds.
Right. Which is one of the reasons they try to keep it illegal. Because you get stoned and you start noticing shit.
Yeah.
And then you're like, we got to change it.
Something's wrong here.
Something's wrong. Something's terribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I think cannabis tunes you in. Alcohol tunes you out. That's why I like cannabis better than alcohol, even though I don't mind alcohol, whatever. I don't judge.
You got a full bar over there. I noticed.
We absolutely
some
do.
Nice tequilas, actually.
We have some great tequilas. We got some great whiskeys. We got some venom over there that's got a cobra and a scorpion in it.
Yeah, of course.
Why
wouldn't you?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's the James Loud Podcast. We got to have something for everybody.
You got to have something for everybody. You never know. The mariachi band might show up.
You never know. If you would have ordered it, we would have got it.
Oh, man. I'll keep that in mind for the next one.
Absolutely.
I'll have a list.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're going to do a cooking show later on this year.
We are going to do a cooking show.
Yeah, we are.
All right. What's your go-to? Okay, you're invited to the potluck.
Yeah.
You're bringing something. Maybe you don't want to spend a million days doing it, but you want to bring something that showcases your ability. Listen, my family, we are all good cooks. Like, you go to the family reunion, they will put your name on the dish that you brought.
Yeah.
Right, for accountability. So they can't be like, who made the potato salad? Damn well that Aisha made the potato salad.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
So,
Don't eat that one. You know, like,
well, no.
Or the opposite,
We're
right?
going to eat it. She makes a great potato salad and a really good, like we could all cook, so nobody's
but
afraid
there is
to do
accountability.
it.
You can't say, no, I didn't make that.
Yeah, there's a little pressure.
Well, so I mean, I'm French trained. I have a background in culinary arts. I have a bachelor's degree in culinary arts. Or associate's
Close
degree.
enough.
And when it comes to food, I like making everything. I do Fruity Pebble treats is one of my desserts.
So you bring a Fruity Pebble treat.
Smash burgers.
You bring smash burgers.
I also bring pizza, and I make pizzas to order. You know what I mean? I do.
Well, you just show up. You show up with your
my pizza oven. Yeah, I have a pizza oven. We can take it. I got a rock box. I will come over with a pizza oven. I make the dough. I'm
inviting you to all my potlucks now.
Yeah, I mean, I go above and beyond. I love smash burgers. I love perfecting things, but I also like.
I would just fry some chicken. You're out here like.
I also do. We're gonna make Korean fried chicken. I made Korean fried chicken yesterday.
Koreans learned that from the black people.
Yeah,
during the Korean War.
It wasn't the Colonel, I swear.
No, the Colonel didn't have much of maybe, Colonel Jenkins was a black guy stationed in Korea during the war, but not Colonel Sanders.
Absolutely not Colonel Sanders. But I love fried chicken too. That's one of my favorite things. I love extra crispy fried chicken.
Now, do you brine your chicken?
I do not.
You buttermilk it?
That's a great way to do it though. I think that like yesterday, basically I used cornstarch, egg, cornstarch, and then I fried it like that. And so basically you do twice fried. So you fry it once, you get a little crispy, and then right before you eat it, you throw it in again to crisp it up.
Ooh,
and
you're fancy.
It's extra crispy, and you can do them in strips. You could do breast strips if you want to go a little healthier, or you can do chicken. I love chicken wings.
Chicken wings, man, I'll eat chicken wings 18 million different ways, but I'm gonna maybe start an argument.
Yeah.
I'm not always a fan of a brine because I think it makes everything too salty.
Yeah.
And I feel like we oversalt everything. And I don't always want like salt to be the first flavor or the overwhelming flavor. So salt's like a spice. I like a little salt on the skin and then you get a little saltiness, but then the chicken starts to chicken it up. You know what I mean?
So I was a Chez Panisse for 9 months, a long time, 20 years ago.
That's so what?
20 years ago.
I was a Chez Panisse 20 years ago.
For 9 months.
I was on Evening at the Improv in 1993, whatever. Totally. Let's just talk about it. All right, go ahead. So you're at Chez Panisse.
Chez Panisse. And so this is very, very important to our conversation because I learned at Chez Panisse that you use things like salt.
Yeah.
You use things like sauces to elevate the raw ingredients, right?
Boom.
And that's how it should be.
That's how it should be.
We're
so salt and sugar forward in a lot of American cuisine these days.
Well, and the fat and the umami, they want this.
We can have a lot of fat. I like fat.
There's nothing wrong with a little bit.
You can deep fry some butter. I don't care.
I love butter. I love good butter.
But do you love it deep fried? That's the important thing.
I love everything.
Everything about butter.
I'm not picky when it comes. I'm picky with quality, but I'm not picky about different things because I feel like there's so many different ways to prepare stuff.
To make butter, yeah.
When you were talking about oxtail earlier, I love oxtail. I think that if you don't like oxtail, but you like braised meat, you probably haven't had good oxtail.
You haven't had the good oxtail.
I mean, I used to have to.
How can you not like, how do you like a braised meat and not like an oxtail?
I think some people don't like the name oxtail.
Well, listen, poor people have always made the best food.
Yeah.
And it's a damn shame that the rich people have discovered the tail of the cow because now it's $12 a pound or whatever when it used to be the cheap cut of meat. And so you had to learn how to do something with it.
I mean, tri-tip was like that back in the day.
Right.
There's so many different cuts of meat that were really cheap and then people figured it out. And it's like Terrace Major's a new one. That's the petite filet.
Okay.
Right? And so now they're calling it petite filet. Just keep calling it Terrace Major.
Yeah, you know what they eat, how they do that.
There's so many different cuts, right? That were like the butcher steak, right? They called the butcher steak because they couldn't sell it, so the butchers would take it home.
Keep it and learn how to do something with it. Yeah. That's how it always goes.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. If I got some chicken bones and you got an onion, we're gonna make soup.
Yeah.
As a team.
That's the way to do it.
Stone Soup is a classic.
Stone Soup. That was one of my favorite books as a kid.
Right. It's a great book.
Great book.
It's a great book. I've always been a fan of that philosophy.
For sure.
Yeah. So I think we got off topic. Where were we?
We totally got off topic. So tell me about yourself.
I'm 6'3" tall. I'm an Aquarius, born in the year of the monkey.
Year of the monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dragon.
Oh, nice. Dragons and monkeys get along.
Totally.
Yeah. If we had a rat,
Aquarius, February 16th.
Hey, I'm February 15th. Happy birthday.
Dude, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, bro. I'll see you in Vegas.
Dude. Yeah. It's
that's right around Champs, I think.
The funniest thing is I get along really good with people that were born around my birthday. I don't know. Us Aquariuses get along with other Aquariuses that are born around that same time.
Generally, yes. Platonically. We can't always date. But,
No,
but
I don't know about that.
platonically, it'll be fine.
They're good people. You know? Right.
Listen, only one of us can be unemotional and flighty.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, you do comedy. Barely. I love your comedy.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, and then
thank
we were 420 together. I mean, I've known about you for a long time. In San Francisco, we were 420 together last year, 2024. You were the MC for the event.
I was.
I was there. It was actually a really sad day. My friend Dave passed away. We talk about it on the podcast. He passed away that morning.
Oh.
And, you know, but it was such a beautiful day. So
to celebrate. Did Dave like weed?
To celebrate. He loved weed.
So there you go.
Dave got me breeding for effect. And I've been breeding for flavors, being a chef. You know, and you can't blame someone for breeding for flavor.
Flavor and effect, they kind of go hand in hand. And you think about the different terpenes have different effects, and the different smell will give you different things.
Absolutely. But I think there needs to be more of a focus back on effect for everybody. How does it make you feel? Forget about this flavor stuff and let's go down to the root. Like, does it make you feel amazing? Because all these different cultivars that we have, they give you a different effect. Each one of them slightly different, right?
Yeah.
Not that no two are exactly the same, because a lot of them are similar, but there's some that are special that make you feel a certain way. And our body chemistry is so unique that what works for me may not work for you or the next guy. I tell people
that all the time. It's always different. You got to find a bud tender who smokes like you smoke.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you just got to try a bunch of weed, right? You got to smoke. That's how you learn what you like, is by trying everything.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the stuff you really like. I have
friends who keep notebooks. They take detailed notes.
I have a notebook.
You can go to, I think there's an app for that now. Is it the Buddhist app or Buddhist?
I think so.
Buddhist.
Yeah, the Buddhist app.
I should actually take more advantage of that.
I think it's important.
But, you know, sometimes I'm just stoned. I don't want to write shit down. I'm just like, oh, that was good weed.
Yeah.
Don't forget. Remember that one.
Well, you know, it's the jar test, right? Which jar if you have a bunch of jars, which one do you go back to?
The one that doesn't have a lot left.
Yeah, exactly.
That's usually the one.
The one that makes you feel a certain way, the one that tastes the best. I like Skittles for the flavor, but also when it's grown in soil, I love the way it makes me feel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, Whitethorn Rose is another one. It's a really good, is that what's right? Oh, yeah. So, Johnny. Big shout out to
Johnny, what it do?
Huckleberry Hill Farms.
Man, let's go. That's one of the few weeds I actually buy. I don't really buy weed.
I agree. I will spend money. I love the rosin.
I spend money on it.
It's pretty much the only gummy. I buy rosin gummies with Whitethorn Rose. I love Whitethorn Rose, and it makes you feel
flavor,
great, right?
The effects, the flavor, the vibe, it's just super nice. This, I also like a really, which I haven't seen in a minute. I don't know if he's still growing it, but chocolate hashberry. Sticky Fields is growing that out there in Mendo.
I haven't seen that one in a long time. Chocolate
I haven't seen
really
it in like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
If anybody's got any chocolate hashberry, call me up. I'll come over.
The shishka berry, I haven't seen that one in a long time.
When was the last time you saw champagne?
So, I mean, pink champagne, yes, but the old school San Francisco champagne.
Yeah, right. San Francisco. I grew up in San Francisco.
Cat piss and champagne. Those were the 90s champagne. Big shout out. But smell this. So this is my new Whitethorn. This is EDP. It's special. We're going to smoke some.
It's way more on the peach side.
So but you smoke it and it's straight floral down to the roach. It tastes floral. And I feel like it gives you a similar effect. There's Blue 13 from Dave, who passed away. That's the Blueberry Haze types, Kevin Jodry's Louis the 13th.
Okay.
There's the Huckleberry Hill Whitethorn.
Which I don't even know the genetics on that. I just assumed it was some sort of forbidden fruit variation.
I'm not sure, but it's special.
I don't even try to ask because I'm
they'll
just stare at me.
Gifting this to Johnny. I'm not sharing it with anybody else. We're going to grow it here in-house, right? Okay. Not in-house here, but with our cultivation partners.
Yeah.
The only people that are going to have it is my cultivation partners in the city, which is SF Canna, right? And then Johnny.
What's this called again?
ZDP.
ZDP. You down with ZDP?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. You know me.
Everybody that's tried this really enjoys the effect. We got a bubbler here.
That's perfect. I love a bubbler.
So this is a ChemDog bubbler.
I'm a two-hit kind of guy.
That's my favorite bubbler. It has a bunch of little millies that have Grateful Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Grateful Dead, amazing.
There's like a little mushroom.
Millies in there. Yeah, we got mushrooms. We got
there's all kind of things. There's a dancing bear.
Mm-hmm. Steal your face.
Steal your face right off of your head. Like I told you what I said.
Yeah, good stuff. So you're from the city, and so
rain ditch. Oh, go ahead.
You love Grateful Dead too. I take it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, how can you not love Grateful Dead?
How can you not love the Grateful Dead? They speak to me on an emotional level.
If you've ever done psychedelics and smoked a bunch of weed, how can you not like the Grateful Dead? It's my argument.
They can get a little noodly sometimes, but sure. I like a noodle, so it's not a problem for me.
I love the noodling. I love the pizza tapes. So
wow, you're deep into it.
Talk about noodling, and it's like I love the old Jerry stuff. I like early 70s. I actually have a hard drive right over here with every recording of the Grateful Dead. There's a bunch of DAT stuff.
I feel from like maybe 1975.
Yeah.
Maybe 1978.
Yeah.
They may have been the best band in the world at that time.
Yeah.
Now from say 86 to 93, Fishbone was the best band in the world.
I like Fishbone too. Most people don't even know about Fishbone.
How can you not know about Fishbone?
Well,
if you like the Grateful Dead, you should like Fishbone because they get down. But they
get down.
They get down in a very groovy. American, groovy. Everybody's locked in. We're creating a higher consciousness sort of way.
Absolutely.
At least when they were at their peak.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, in 80s was kind of rough with music, to be honest. I think there was a lot of electronic stuff coming in that maybe doesn't appeal to people today, but there was still some good stuff. I
mean, listen, there was all that punk rock. We were leaning into the industrial. House was kind of just getting its creative, after the Donna Summer thing, and then people starting to figure it out in Detroit and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, San Francisco.
I mean, there was a lot of
early days of San Francisco house, early 90s. Then house, it blew up. I mean, being from San Francisco, if you didn't go to raves in the 90s, you really missed out on some amazing. That was like disco, right? Once it's gone, it's gone. It was never the same.
Raves are they're kind of an offshoot of the disco, 100%. But more, crazier.
For sure.
It's awesome.
But yeah, it's the city.
Do you DJ too? Do you do everything?
I don't
grow
DJ.
Weed. I DJ.
No, I was never a DJ. I play guitar.
Chicken. Oh, you play guitar?
I play guitar.
Of course you do.
Absolutely, I play guitar.
Yeah. Well, we should have brought our instruments. Next time I'll bring a conga drum and we'll just sit here and hippie out.
I mean,
for 3 hours.
We get a drum. Yeah, we get a little drum circle going. Next time we're eating mushrooms and we're getting a drum circle going 100%.
Fire on the mountain.
That's what's up.
Fire. All right.
So what do you think about
I think
ZDP?
It's very tasty, and clearly it makes me chatty.
Yeah, I like the effects of it. I feel like it's a good hybrid. It's uplifting.
Just starting to kick in. I feel the uplift for sure. Yeah. You feel a little behind the eyes a little bit. The flavor is really, really nice. Like you said, floral notes. I get a lot more peach than just like straight tropical fruit, but that could just be me. That be the vibe that I'm on right now.
We call it peach thorn rose.
Nice. Nice.
But yeah, I'm gonna see Johnny next week, and we're gonna talk about it. I feel like it's got a special look to it. It's kind of like Skittles in the sense that it's not super beautiful as far as the structure, but I think the effect way outweighs the bag appeal.
It looks, and listen, it's so hard now that they don't serve deli style, right?
Yeah.
First of all,
it's the worst.
First of all, it's sitting in Mylar. The conditions are hot. It's cold. It's this. It's that. It's not moving. It's not always maintaining the terpenes like you like, and it takes 3 months to get the approval. So it starts to degrade after a while. You have to trust the company. You have to trust the grower now. You can't, smell the bag, or at least look at it and be like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's the worst part about
it's such a big
recreational cannabis is that we lost the deli style where you can't actually. So that is some old school funk right there.
I smell a little. I definitely smell the funk. It's like some skunky.
Oh yeah, that's the. Crippy.
It's not a diesely. What was it before runs? Like it was just skunk. It was just OG, right?
Yeah. So this is very much an old school OG. It grows like a sativa though, so it's got that morphology where it's like really bad node spacing, thinner leaves, taller plants, but it has that classic OG structure and it has that really classic nose burning OG gas.
But I'm also smelling a little, like a little creaminess, almost like a old school Northern Lights or something like that in there. Vanilla Luna.
Yeah,
if you remember that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is just an old school cut from Florida called the Crippy.
The Crippy.
Florida
Crippy. Was that be late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah. Maybe even a little bit before then.
Yeah,
so, I mean, we got the cut recently in the last couple of years, and I've been
sticky.
It's super like this. It's sticky, like to where you can stick that bud to the microphone stand and it'll stay there. Like literally, if you thumb it over there.
You thumb it. I don't want to ruin this bud. Oh shit.
You can thumb it. I'm telling you, When was the last time you thumbed a bud to something and it stuck? You know, I mean, I love that.
Woo! Surface tension. Let's hear it for adhesion.
Adhesion. Not related to Ed Rosenthal. Adhesion.
No. Yeah. That's a whole different.
That's a whole different conversation.
Right.
But yeah, this stuff is super strong.
What's it called again?
Crippy.
Crippy. It's just straight old school crippy stuff.
It's just old school crippy. I think old school is making a comeback. Sour Diesel, OG Kush.
Bro, let's go.
Blue Dream. All these things are going to be making a comeback this year.
Here's the thing about Blue Dream. Blue Dream will never, at least to me, Blue Dream will never go away because what happens is
it won't.
You smoke a lot of Blue Dream and then you're like, man, I got to give other weeds a chance.
Yeah.
Lay off of it. Or maybe you found a Blue Dream that wasn't great. And you're like, oh, I need a Blue Dream tolerance break or whatever. And then you smoke a really good one again and you're like, God, that's my shit. Why did I ever stop? It's so good for a variety. You can watch a movie. You can do stuff. You can hang out. You can clean. You can do stuff or not do stuff.
Right.
Blue Dream is so well balanced. It's so well balanced.
It's such an interesting variety. Green Crack I like Green Crack too. Don't get me wrong, but Green Crack I hate the name too.
Always hated it.
It's the worst name.
It's not a great
name. No, and the thing is the reason it's called Green Crack is because you smoke it and it gets you so high, but you build a tolerance to it right away. So like within a week, it doesn't get you high anymore. It's like crack. Like literally, I would smoke it and then
I didn't realize that was the origin of the name.
And the thing is like if I did this one time where I only grew Green Crack. And so after a week, my tolerance
literally a green crack head.
Yeah. And it was like, so I'd get my friends over smoking. They'd be like, oh, this is so strong. And I'd smoke big joints with them and I wouldn't be phased and they would be completely out. I had a friend, we were at, this is 2012 at the Parade for the Giants in San Francisco.
Oh shit.
And I brought big joints of Green Crack to smoke with everybody. And I passed one of my friend Joe and we were out in front of the library.
Like a one-man crowd control committee.
Oh yeah. We were in front of the library in San Francisco and he took a couple hits from it and had to actually sit down on the ground. He was so high. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, we just took a couple hits. And he's like, this is the strongest weed I fucking smoked.
Yeah. You have to be careful. You have to be careful with the amateurs sometimes. I've definitely killed a party or two.
And this guy
with a regular sized joint, but you know, what are you going to do?
And he wasn't even an amateur. It's just different than what he's used to smoking. Yeah. So yeah.
I was in New York just before New Year's. And we went to a couple spots. And a friend of mine knew this gray area, half legal spot. You know what I mean? Right? They'd been around for a while. It was a smoking lounge and a little weed room, but you couldn't tell. You had to, walk up the steps. You didn't know what you were looking for or whatever.
Totally. No sign.
No sign. There's no sign. I couldn't even tell you where it was. I was just kind of following them around.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, we're here. And then on the way back, I was trying to, okay, don't forget where you were. And I was like, well, I'm too high to fucking try to remember what's going on.
That's a great way to lose your car too.
Oh man, I've wandered neighborhoods because sometimes I have a rental car, so I forget what it is or what it looks like, and then got stoned at the park or whatever. And now
you end up walking 3 miles in the wrong direction.
This is I haven't even opened this yet. Somebody gave it to me.
Oh, nice.
We were talking about strains making a comeback. Super Silver Haze.
Dude, I have Super Silver Haze at the house. I love
it's coming back. It's
love
coming back.
Super Silver.
In Spain, they grow so many hazes.
They do. It's so
they
much.
Have the amnesia, the Super Silver. They love a haze, and I think it's a patience thing.
It is.
Right? The commercial growers don't always have the patience to go 12 weeks, 14 weeks.
Long flowering varieties. Right. I love them. And
small batch, long flowering. It's 0 for 2. Dude, but a good one.
Ariane from Greenhouse came to Terpnomi in San Francisco, David Downs event. Yeah. It was amazing this year, by the way. And
shout out David Downs.
Shout out
big
David.
Big up Hash Week. Big up Weed Week.
Gotta love. Yeah, I love Hash Week.
I love Weed Week.
I love Weed Week. I love Hash Week. I love Terpnomi. David Downs is killing it.
Right.
Watch out 2025. He's going to drop it even harder this year.
Bro, him, Jimmy Devine, they're doing great events right now.
Great events. And I love these boutique feeling events where they put so much energy and love into them. And it's not about the money. It's about a good event.
Shout out to the small scale event producers who love good cannabis. Shout out Tony Bowles. Shout out my boy Nathan, who does the Missouri Growers Cup and the Oregon Growers Cup and the Arizona Growers Cup and the Oregon Hempfest. Shout out Cannafest. Shout out my homegirl Sage, who does all kind of weed events.
Reggae on the River was a comeback this year.
Shout out Reggae on the River.
I can't wait to come this year. I was with an amazing group of people.
Big up the International Cannabis Business Conference Series, Berlin and Barcelona this year. Shout out Alex.
I'll be
Shout
there.
Out.
Spanibus.
See you there. See you at Spanibus. Spanibus. 100%. If you like genetics, if you like seeds, Spanibus is really like if you could only go to one conference,
it's usually got to be Spanibus. But Mary Jane
should be Spanibus.
I heard Mary Jane was better than Spanibus.
Mary Jane is great.
I didn't go last year, but
I think I went 2 years ago because, it depends on when the International Cannabis Business Conference is. Yeah. So if I'm in Berlin while it's happening, I can get to go, but I can't always afford to stick around 2 extra weeks.
It's sealed. It's sealed, so I can't open it, but I'm excited.
I'll open it for you.
Yep.
It's like I said, it's fresh.
So circling back to hazes, Arian came here. He was at Terpnami and he's shaking his head. And I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, I'm just blown away by all these hazes. What's going on here? All these guys coming down from the hills got haze. There was more haze at Terpnami than I've ever seen at any American event.
No shit.
There was more hazes than they have at Spannabis, and there was different style hazes from all over. There was really terpenoline dominant hazes where that terpenoline limonene.
Terpenoline.
Classic.
Terpenoline is becoming very popular.
Yeah, the terpenoline is very popular, but we had all kinds of stuff. There was like some Durbans. There was some Red Congo, which is like one of my favorites. My all-time favorite.
Get your heart racing.
You
have to be careful.
It'll kick you. It'll kick you in the chest.
I got years ago, a friend of mine had crossed like a landrace Thai sativa with, I can't remember, it was like a Durban. It was a Durban. And
sounds like a heart racer.
Well, here's the thing. It was really tasty weed, but I definitely had to learn to use it use its powers for good.
Right.
But people would come over, right? I had a jar and they'd smell it and be like, let's smoke that one. I'd be like, well, here's the thing. You came over to hang out. We're going to smoke this. And then 20 minutes after we smoke it, you're going to get up and go do stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, man, I got time. I got an hour and a half. I just came to kick it. I was like, all right. And then we smoked the joint. And then 20 minutes later, like, oh man, I was supposed to go to the post office. I got to go pay this bill. Yeah. Like, my bathroom's a mess. And they just get up and run out. Seriously. And just go start doing shit. I was like, yeah, man.
Little anxiety.
Get you going. Yeah. Yeah. It's not, but it wasn't, I found it, at least that one wasn't not like, some of them you get that anxiety, you're like, if I don't do something, I'm going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
But this was just more like a motivator. Like
Malawi was kind of like that for me.
Get up and do things.
I get the heart palpitations a little bit from Malawi. I love Malawi. I get Malawi times Oaxacan right now.
Oh shit.
That's
so international.
It is so, it's so good.
So
and I love.
That's like salsa music.
Yeah. I mean, I like my varieties, but that is my like go-to when I want to get lifted.
Really.
I want to get lifted. I want to be focused, lifted, caffeine. I'm drinking this new coffee. It's a mushroom coffee called Rise.
So is it coffee with mushrooms in it, or is it just all mushroom coffee?
It has Arabica coffee in it, and it's amazing, and it makes me super focused. Right. Before I taught my class today, I drank some of that, and I felt fantastic.
So it's like a lion's mane and coffee?
It has like 5 different mushrooms.
5 different mushrooms.
And then it definitely makes you more focused without giving you that heavy caffeine buzz. And I like caffeine by itself, but man, I think caffeine with mushrooms is this key. It's not psychedelic mushrooms, but it's the good stuff.
It's the umami. It's the vitamin D.
Yeah.
Right? Mushrooms are heavy in that. It's all those kind of things.
I love mushrooms. I love all mushrooms. Yeah, there's not a bad mushroom out there.
Oh, some will kill you.
Well, so those kind of mushrooms I don't like, but the other
I'm sure
ones,
they're beneficial for the planet and the environment in other different ways. But maybe you shouldn't kill it or eat it.
Maybe there's some you definitely shouldn't eat.
No, more than a few you shouldn't eat. Know your mushrooms before you get into them.
But I also do like mushrooms. I love all the mushrooms that you can eat that I've eaten. I love all of them.
You never had a bad mushroom? You never ate one mushroom and went like...
I think, so I talk about it on the show a little bit. I do like Golden Teachers for the fact that they're not super introspective. Sometimes I like the introspective, right? Yeah. But sometimes I like just feeling good and laughing with my friends.
Nothing wrong with that.
And the thing with Golden Teachers is you can eat so many of them and still have an amazing trip. Whereas like you go penis envy and you eat too much of those and you're not coming back for a while and you're not wanting to eat mushrooms for a while.
Right. Can I borrow your scissors?
Absolutely. Oh, we had scissors here.
The whole time. I was like, I got to ask somebody for scissors. And then,
right
you look around, become aware of your
I can't open this. I don't have scissors. And I did have scissors.
And you did have scissors. That's why we're a team. You brought the scissors and I noticed them. I'm going to try to make this it's like ASMR right now.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So it's not annoying if it's intentional.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's something for everybody with cannabis and with mushrooms. And our body chemistries are so uniquely different that with these mushrooms, it's like some people, the new blue magnolias, those are amazing.
I haven't tried, I got to be honest, I haven't done mushrooms in about a year.
I go through phases.
I don't even know all the all the hip new. It's so funny that there's like mushroom heads now, like mushroom connoisseurs. Like, oh yeah, bro, I like to combine a golden teacher with
I like 10%,
10%. I microdose 3 days a week, and then I macrodose every other week.
I put cactus in there a couple days, and I mean, it's wild.
I make an aloe vera dark chocolate mushroom smoothie, and it really cleansed me out spiritually and physically.
Well, I mean, the spectrum of psychedelics is so broad now. When we were kids, it was like, oh, you want to eat some mushrooms or take some acid?
Right. That was it.
That was it.
There was
you can go to San Francisco, you can go to Golden Gate Park, pick up some acid.
Yeah.
You know, but now it's like, oh, what do you want to try? You want to microdose this, or 10 other things?
I mean, it's nice to have a choice. It's nice that you can be aware, because
convenience, but it can complicate things in
paralysis of options. But it's also nice to be like, yeah, I'm going to go to a concert and I want to do some dancing. So I'll take some golden teachers,
right?
Where it's not, it's not a little crazy.
Exactly.
I'm not going to sit there in the corner thinking about choices that I made, missing my friends, laughing and crying.
You're not rethinking your life in the corner.
Which is nothing wrong with that.
No, and I think there's a time and a place for that. For sure.
Yeah. And maybe, the giant rave with 15 of your friends who don't want to babysit your high ass is not the time. Well, it's not the time for that.
I mean, I go on road trips sometimes where I take a big dab before I go and I start rethinking my life on the way there, you know?
I may or may not have had an existential moment on a Greyhound bus in the middle of the night because the cookie was way too strong for me.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there thinking about all these things. And you're on a Greyhound, so you can't really turn to the stranger or the bus driver and be like, hey, man, I'm really high right now.
Can you slow down?
Can we just stop for a minute? Can we get snacks? I need black pepper.
I could use some sugar.
Right, right. Well, like I said, I just opened it. I think it may have been sitting around for a while, but
based on the color,
I
ain't gonna lie,
it was in the sun.
I smell some ammonia.
I had a different super silver haze, but I smoked it before I could bring it over, and it was really super silver hazy, and I'm just glad it's making a comeback. I thought that one might be exciting, but I'm sorry that it's not.
That's all right. So
I hope we can still be friends.
Oh yeah,
I have other things in my bag though. Don't get it twisted.
Nice. I do too.
Yeah, let's look at it.
Yeah, so in fact,
I feel like all that buildup, we had to borrow scissors. We had to cut the thing open 5 different times. We're going to
smell this one first. We're going to do a blind tasting with you today.
Like black pepper, the beta carolophyllene.
Definitely.
I can't really smell osamine, but I feel like it would be in there somewhere.
Well, yeah, this is grown in a specific substrate, and then this one is grown into different substrate.
Same strain?
Same exact cultivar from the same exact mom, grown side by side with the one in this jar with a different substrate.
Do I get to know the strain at first, or I just have to guess?
No, we're going to smoke these, and you're going to know the strain. You're going to be like, yeah, I know.
Am I? Okay, fingers crossed. Is it Bubba Kush?
No, I really love Bubba Kush. I don't even
398 Bubba, baby. Bring it back. Let's go.
I don't even know where to find it, but I wish I did because
I may.
Yeah.
And I cannot. I will look. There may be some seeds in my refrigerator.
Nice.
But I cannot vouch for anybody's viability or whatever. Well, but if I have some, I'll break some off and let me know.
Yeah, and we're with the seeds, it's going to be a different genotype. So I really miss that pre-98 Bubba.
Yeah.
Phenotype, genotype. It's going to be different. It'll be slightly different expression.
Pre-98 Bubba.
Yeah, pre-98 Bubba. I love old school pre-98 soapy Bubba where you smoke it and it's like soapy and gassy and it just coats your mouth. That's my jam.
When's Headband coming back?
I believe it's coming back. Crockett gave the 707 Headband cut to Conception and they're going to be selling clones of it. So we're going to be seeing Headband really soon if you like that 707. Now there's so many different types of Headband out there.
Some sort of gas?
No. Think candy. Try the other ones, and then you can make your decision.
It's not a gelato.
No, it's not a gelato. Oh, it's the genetic that I talk about the most on my show. Probably I got this infatuation with this candy variety, and all our watchers know exactly what I'm talking about.
Good for them. Well, whatever it is, it's tasty as fuck.
Yeah,
man, I can't. I'm sure what you say, I'm gonna be like, oh, fucking duh.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go through all 3 of the jars, and maybe by the end you'll be like, oh yeah, I know that, or maybe I don't.
It is fruity. It's not a cherry pie or a cherry kush because there's too much gas involved. It's not the Gorilla Glue because it's not spicy.
You heard like Turpogs?
Glue. Huh?
Turpogs?
What about
that name?
I do.
What they're famous for? How about third gen? You know what they're famous for?
I don't know what they're famous for. I'm sorry. I should really pay more attention.
Oh, you're too old school. That's a good thing.
I should pay more attention to weed gossip, but also
I don't know.
It's kind of funny. I'm not really here to argue about who had and I get it. Like, dog, it's your legacy. Like, if you worked for generations and years to perfect this one strain and everybody wants to get it and everybody says they had it or everybody says they started first, of course you're going to get fired up about it. Sometimes to me, and this is just my little hippie ass showing, cannabis, like juggling, is open source.
Yeah.
Right? Of course somebody's going to have it. Somebody's going to, there could be parallel evolutions or you never know how these things come about. And I love them all. And I'm a fan of all the styles, but it's tough. It's tough to be proprietary. And I feel like the cannabis plant itself does not like people who are too proprietary about it. You know what I mean?
I think
right. That's how you end up with the fucking Cavendish banana, which is going to be extinct pretty soon. Absolutely. It's the only one we're really growing in any sort of.
And I believe in sharing, but I also believe in being a steward of the plant and giving it to the right people and not to the wrong people. Right. So like there's so many different options these days, and you can give it to the wrong person. Believe me, genetics can get in the wrong hands, unfortunately. But I also believe that sharing is caring, and sharing good genetics. Though everybody deserves access to quality flower, right, and quality genetics. That goes. Yeah, I sell seeds. We have different price seeds for everybody, but we have something for everybody at every price point. And we're about to start selling clones online. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
This one's more of a darker, right? You know what I mean? Like a skunkier, gassier sort of flavor. And this one, the flavors are kind of the same.
Soil. Now, one of them soil, I believe it's that one actually.
Are you sure there's no diesel in here? Because it's got that diesel mouthfeel where, you know what I mean? Where you're a little coated.
It's candy. It's candy.
Which candy is it? Oh, fuck. You're going to tell me. You're going to tell me and I'm just going to be like, ah!
It'd probably be easier if you smoked it in a joint, because down to the road, it tastes like candy. You exhale, you get candy.
This is not a strawberry.
No.
It
starts with Z.
Skittles?
Yes. And ends with Z.
Skittles. But it doesn't. Yes, of course. Now it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always think of Skittles as a little more runtsy. You know what I mean? A little more deep skunk in it some.
Well, and the beauty of Skittles is you can harvest on day 51 to day 53 and you get one expression. You harvest on day 63, you get another expression. I think this was probably harvested somewhere in the middle of that, like day 56.
Okay.
So you get a little bit of that gas.
Just trying to decide. There was so much like
burn a little bit.
Gas coating, mouth coating in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I like them both. I can't really pick one.
Well, I think there's one more that's in.
Is it that? Door number 2?
Yes, this is
door number 3.
Yeah. But you're not going to be as excited about this one.
I'm not going to be as excited?
It's all right.
It's just all right.
It's another one. And it smells good. They smell good. They smell skittly.
It smells fine. It's got all that pepper and fruit.
Yeah. Well, and when you harvest Skittle at the right time, when you harvest that cultivar, you get a lot of melon. So you get this cantaloupe nose that I love. I love.
Did you just call me?
Cantaloupe.
Oh, I thought you called me cantaloupe nose. I thought we were going to have a problem.
No. Nobody knows cantaloupe like cantaloupe. No.
The cantaloupe knows cantaloupe nose.
It does.
Right.
And I love good cantaloupe. You can't go wrong with cantaloupe. Cantaloupe is one of the best. That melon, same thing, honeydew, like ripe honeydew.
This one smells good too. I don't know why you.
Well, the effect, so one of them's grown in cocoa, one of them's grown in soil, and another one grown in living soil. So, yeah. But like I said, we're always A/B testing everything. So we try stuff. Some stuff works, some stuff doesn't work. Life is an adventure. So we're always looking for that new adventure.
Life is an adventure. Or it is nothing at all.
Yeah. So you do stand-up comedy.
I do stand-up comedy. I'll be at the Crest Theater in Sacramento this Saturday. Tickets are actually free because it was a last-minute show. My boy called me up. It was like, hey, we had an emergency fallout. Come and do a show. And I was like, all right.
I love stand-up comedy. There's so many good comedians.
There are
just so many great comedians. Craig Conant is one of my new favorites.
I worked with him at the Crest last year.
No way.
Yeah.
I would love to get him on my show someday.
It was me, him, and Steph Tolov.
Dude, the amazing comedian. He's going on tour right now. I think he'll be in LA February 20th. He'll be in San Jose.
Man, you're a fan.
I am. Yeah.
You're a fan. You know the tour dates.
I love comedy. Yeah.
Where's your t-shirt? You don't have a Craig Cunningham t-shirt?
I have a tattoo, actually.
That's it. I have his picture on the mirror in my bathroom. Right. I say good morning to him every day.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's big into psychedelics. I love his psychedelic jokes because they resonate with people that do psychedelics. So
fair enough.
If you smoke weed or you do psychedelics, you can relate.
You're the target audience.
My target audience. Yeah. My demographic is 40 to 55-year-old males that smoke weed and do psychedelics.
That's yours. That's yours. Mine is smart people who smoke weed and get laid.
Nice.
Yeah.
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 Well, whatever works for you. Yeah, I mean,
there's some overlap.
There's
clearly some overlap in our demographics.
Totally. And I would love to do stand-up comedy someday.
You should.
I love watching stand-up comedy, and I think it's so amazing when you see these comedians that can tell a story and then circle back at the end.
Yeah.
And wrap it all up nice.
The craft.
And close it out. And it's like, wow, these guys are amazing.
Takes years.
It takes years.
Takes years.
It's just like everything else.
It's like learning to make a souffle.
Yeah.
Well, you can learn a souffle pretty quick, but to get it super right.
To get it super
or to
right,
scramble an egg.
Just cooking in general, any sort of skill set like that. It takes time. Doing podcasts. I feel like my podcast
How many years you been doing it now?
Since COVID. All right, so
2020.
And I did 42 episodes on the Cannabis Future Project. Cannabis, whatever. Cannabis, Future
whatever
Cannabis Project. So I did 42 episodes, Future Cannabis Project, and then we're on episode 90 something right now.
Nice.
So I've done over 100 episodes. I feel so much more confident doing podcasts now. Right? I love doing podcasts.
Of course.
And what I realized is podcasts are all about the guest. It's not about the host. It's how can you get...
I don't know. You talk a lot. No, I'm kidding.
I do.
I'm kidding.
I do. No, I do talk a lot. I love talking, and I love elevating my guests, though.
Right.
I feel like it's all about highlighting your guests and what they do.
I'm definitely elevated. I feel like, and it's probably a cumulative effect.
Yeah.
But that third one seemed to kick everything else into overdrive.
It does.
Right. So I don't know if you lined it up like that specifically.
Yeah.
But
we put DMT in the last one. No, I'm joking. I'm totally joking. That would be funny if we did, but we would never do that. Because DMT is illegal.
It would be hilarious.
Yeah, it would be. Wow. Until you started seeing little elves.
Don't secretly dose your friends.
Yeah.
I might have a funeral to go to later. Dude, I got to go to court. This is not the time. This is not the time for this. Trying to be in court. Yes, Your Honor, elf, sir.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so cannabis. It's just an amazing thing. And we're in an amazing time with legalization. Right. With all these other states going online.
And other countries.
Germany.
I'm going to be in Germany for the International Cannabis Business Conference.
Yeah, that's coming
late
up.
April.
Yeah.
Like April
20, it's around 420.
27th through the
right
29th.
After 420.
Yeah.
Right. And
I got to come back to the States. I'm going to do some 420 out here, and then I'm going to go back because I'm going to Barcelona and I got to come back.
I'll be in LA for 420. We're doing a big seed drop with the Cannabis Brothers.
Oh, nice.
They've basically pheno-hunted some of my genetics. We're forming the big Voltron. We're going to do this little limited release.
A seed drop, like when
420 packs.
First, I imagine you guys just, in a helicopter, just dropping seeds.
Drop seeds, not bombs. Absolutely.
Right? Pass joints, not judgment.
Yeah.
But then I realized it's like a shoe drop or whatever. You selling the seeds.
We are selling
the
seeds.
We
are profiting.
It's not the WKRP turkey drop.
No, it is not. No,
I thought weed seeds could fly.
We're sharing the seeds with the world. And, I do my share of giving back.
Oh, I wasn't. I wasn't casting aspersions. I was just for sure high and visualizing.
You weren't gaslighting.
I was just taking shit literally.
Yeah.
As stoners do. That's one of those things, like when you're entertaining a room full of stoners, because, I've done dispensaries and shit all the time. Yeah. It can be kind of challenging because they will take everything literally. Like if a comic goes, me and my girlfriend just broke up. They're like, oh, man. Is it all right? You're like, no, we break up every time I do this bit.
Yeah.
Right?
Once a week.
We've been broken up for years, but this bit is still good. So don't worry.
Right.
But it's just one of those things. But I forgot what I was talking about. You were talking about.
I was talking about cannabis now.
Cannabis and Germany, and you're doing a seed drop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about you and how you got involved with cannabis. Where did you get your start?
I started smoking it
when you were 8.
No. I tried one time when I was 12, but my parents caught me. And that's not true. Once when I was like 11, the counselors at the summer camp let me hang out and smoke a joint with them one time.
Yeah.
But then not again until like, I think it was 5th or 6th grade. And then me and Alex Studer, no, it might have been 8th grade. It was 8th grade.
Yeah.
And me and Alex Studer used to smoke weed. And then one time my mom caught us. And so she gave me a lecture, and then she called my dad, which I knew it was serious because my mom and my dad didn't really get along. So if she called my dad about something, it was real. And my dad, who was a big pot smoker, was like, "You just got to wait till college, bro. You're not ready. Just don't."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't get into it like that.
Don't put the cart before the horse.
Your brain is still forming. You got shit. You got responsibilities. So then, as soon as I got to college, I was like, "Yeah, I'll fucking try it."
So you did listen.
Yeah.
Smart guy.
My kids are the same way. I've been on them since they were like 5. No drugs till college. No drugs till college. Now they're adults and they're doing fine. And they like to smoke a little weed.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
No,
but they can't smoke
great.
with their dad. My son's always like, "Dog, you and your friends smoke weed." Like, I just wanted a hit. You guys get high.
Yeah.
Tolerance. It's a culture. It's a lifestyle. You know, I was on a cooking show.
Yeah.
But so that's how it started. So I just started smoking weed in college. And I was like, I really like this weed. And I come from a long line of activists. So then I started like, looking into it and reading about activism of it and the history. And then Jack Here's book came out a little around there in the 90s. I had met Debbie Goldsberry and Don from the Cannabis Action Network from back in the day. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm here for this whole thing. Because to me, cannabis legalization does a lot of things, right? It helps cops be less racist because they can't just pull you over for weed. Yeah. Or they can't use it as a pretext to pull you over for weed. It keeps people out of jail.
They can't search your car because it smells like weed anymore. I love that.
Man, that's one of my favorite things. Listen.
Because I always smell like weed.
Always.
It's my cologne.
Always. When I'm in the coffee shop smelling like weed and the cops walk in and I don't have to trip, bro, it's great. I was smoking a joint in downtown Sacramento one time, and it wasn't very crowded. It was like me, a couple other people on the street, and I'm smoking a joint waiting for the bus, and 3 sheriff's deputies walk by, right? And I'm just smoking a joint, and they're like, "Hey, what's up?" I was like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Totally.
It was beautiful. A lot of the other ways they've set up the system in California, I'm not a fan, but just that part,
that's amazing. Yeah.
Man, great for the blood pressure.
Well, I heard Dallas, anything less than 4 ounces, they will not arrest you for. You'll get fined, but they are not arresting people anymore in Dallas.
And for 4 ounces in Dallas,
less than 4 ounces
in Dallas, not Austin, great. Not San Antonio.
No, Dallas.
I
love it. I love it. And my family lives in Dallas.
Right.
And so I'm excited.
I've never been to Dallas. I've been to Corpus Christi. I've been to San Antonio.
Yeah.
I've been to Oil Town or Oildale. I've been to El Paso. I've been to all kind of towns. I just never been Houston.
Yeah. Houston's great.
Austin.
So Viet Cajun food in Houston.
Yeah. I'm here
the
for
food's
it.
great there.
I'm here for it. Houston is a good eating town.
Same thing with Austin.
Yeah.
Austin,
I can't
barbecue
deal
in
with
Texas
the humidity.
is next level.
Oh, listen, when I'm in Austin or Texas, it is a struggle to maintain any sort of vegetable because I just eat brisket. Yeah. I'll have a brisket taco for breakfast.
Yeah.
I have brisket at lunch.
Brisket and eggs, brisket sandwich for lunch, brisket plate for dinner.
Right. Well, why are you mucking about?
It's hard to get brisket that good anywhere else.
It's so good everywhere. Your odds are very good. Wherever they got the brisket, your odds are good. Maybe I'll get a queso with brisket in it for the appetizer.
Well, and it's so funny because Texas has some barbecue spots that are super expensive that you have to wait in line forever. But there's also like the hole-in-the-wall place that not a lot of people know about that's just absolutely amazing. That's $10 still.
It's just one of those towns where, if you're going to put your name on some brisket, you better come correct.
Yeah. I mean, I love brisket with some white bread and a side of beans and
that's all
whatever.
You don't even need beans.
No.
Dude, I'm like, I need a pound of brisket.
Just brisket.
Do you want any sides? It's going to get in the way.
Yeah.
It's going to get in the way.
I mean, in most of the places, the cheap ones, the sides aren't even that good. You might find one thing that's but like
I'm
just
not taking the risk, bro. Yeah. Just hand over the meat. Run me the meat and no one gets hurt.
Yeah. And do you like the fatty part of the brisket? Do you like the point or do you like the flat?
I like a mix.
Yeah.
You like burn ends? If you lean toward the fatty, burn ends is my go-to. I'm always a burn end. If there's burn ends on the menu, just hand me the burn ends.
Yeah. 1 pound of burn ends, please.
1 pound of burn ends and a good sauce. I'm not always a fan of the Texas. I like a Kansas City style sauce, right? Because I grew up in California, so we had
so you like a little more vinegar, a little thinner,
a little less vinegar, a little more corn syrup, a little thicker.
Oh, it's a little thicker,
right? A lot of these Texas sauces are some of those North Carolina guys with your mustard and too vinegary.
No, I don't like the vinegary stuff myself personally.
You know, listen, you could almost say that burnt ends with a hot, sweet barbecue sauce is like the General Cho's chicken. Yeah. Right? Just put a sweet sauce on it, you know, a good hunk of meat. Americans love that shit. Right. Americans love a little crispy on the outside. Americans love
crispy on the outside. You can't go wrong with it.
Can't go wrong. It's just the sweet and sour pork of people who don't eat sweet and sour pork.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the way to go, though.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I love...
Ketchup is the soy sauce of America, according to my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my nephew, he used to eat ketchup packets for food. That's what he loved. Heinz ketchup packets. Gross.
Well, I mean, I guess if that's your thing.
Yeah. I mean, that was his ice cream.
I've never liked ketchup.
Really?
No, don't like it. Like, okay, if it's a homemade ketchup, if somebody made the ketchup, I will take a dab or two.
I'll make ketchup.
If it's homemade, if it's a homemade ketchup, if it's a homemade ranch dressing,
you don't need 57 different types of tomato in your ketchup.
You don't need any of that weird vinegar and corn syrup concoction that, you know, an excuse to put sugar on your meat that they call ketchup.
Yeah. You don't like ketchup on your steak?
Nor on my eggs, nor on my bologna sandwiches, nor on my burgers, nor on my fish or my potatoes.
Yeah, on the potatoes especially. I think that's a big one in America is
don't like
ketchup with potatoes.
Listen, the Dutch put mayonnaise on their potatoes. So who are we to talk?
Dutch mayonnaise is different too, though. I really like Japanese and I like Dutch mayonnaise.
Dutch mayonnaise sounds like either a wrestler or a sex move.
It could be dangerous. Either way.
Dutch mayonnaise. That's his signature move is the Dutch mayonnaise. That's why they call him Dutch mayonnaise.
Yeah, you got to watch out. The blue waffle and the Dutch mayonnaise.
Right, gave him the Dutch mayonnaise off the top rope. Yeah. It was over. They just said, damn. You know, because the Dutch.
So I like eggs a lot. I've been working on egg salad sandwiches, Japanese style, Korean style, all that stuff.
There's a spot in Sacramento called Panisi's, and they're mostly Italian. But they put a little curry powder in the egg salad sandwich, and it's so good. So
curry with mayonnaise makes one of the best aiolis.
Yes.
And I love it, especially just where it's a hint of it, where it's slightly yellow, but you get that curry, it lifts everything up, right? And that's one of those ones that's slightly, just a little something.
Just a little, little smokiness.
I mean, the world is about diversity and differentiation from place to place. I love that where you can go to some place and they got something special like that where it's like, wow. Yeah.
Just a little, you like to have somebody put a twist.
Yeah.
Right?
I like the little things.
If I wanted everything to be exactly the same, I would just go to McDonald's. Right. Which is great sometimes because you do want something to be the same.
I don't like McDonald's, but yes, I agree.
But no, I understand.
The consistency is amazing.
I understand. That, listen, McDonald's is mostly evil.
Mostly evil. It's the evil empire.
Mostly evil. Just sometimes
Darth Sidious.
I like to see how their expression of the culture is when I'm in a different country. Right? You know, because you can get a goat cheeseburger in Barcelona. Right? They put goat cheese on it. You can't.
No. My parents love McDonald's out of the country. Like they want to go see what's going on there.
Sometimes you just want to see. You just want to see. I'm not eating there every day. It's not like, oh my God, thank God there's a McDonald's. Yeah. But you know, I'm kind of stoned and wandering the streets.
Yeah.
They see a McDonald's. Let's go see this goat cheeseburger. Let's see what the lamb mac. Let's just see what they're doing.
Right.
Right. But yeah, I love a local twist or however you like to do it at your spot. Yeah. As long as you're not too heavy on the pickles.
No, and then I love good homemade pickles too.
A good homemade pickle. Yeah. Once again, though, there's a difference sometimes between. I mean, Vlasic makes a good pickle. I'm just not a big. I think it's a vinegar thing. I'm not a big vivinegarer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Scandinavian, so I pickle everything.
Yeah, sure.
We pickle everything. You whatever you can pickle, we'll pickle.
You'll pickle it.
I'll pickle
pickled soap.
Everything. Yeah. So I love pickles. But pickled carrots, pickled green meats.
Do you make the pickle sandwich? Have you seen that where they use 2 big slices of pickle and they put all the meat in the things, but no bread? It's just the pickle sandwich. Yeah,
it's great.
All right.
I do pickled strawberries with jalapenos, and they have a little red wine vinegar and a little white vinegar and a bunch of sugar.
Bunch of sugar.
But what happens when you use the red wine vinegar is it doesn't let the strawberry lose its color.
Right.
It maintains the color. So it's this, but you have to eat them 24 hours after you make them.
I was going to say, how long do you pickle them for? So it's
less than 24 hours.
It's a quicker pickle.
It's a quickle. Yeah, it's a quickle.
Yeah.
And you do it in the fridge. They're refrigerated pickles. So you do that overnight. You eat them the next day. They're good for about 24 to 48 hours max.
All right.
And they're spicy because you slice that, especially when you use spicy
jalapenos. Yeah.
And it gives you that green jalapeno flavor with a little kick of spice. It's great.
Do you put it in a salad? You just eat them straight out the jar? You have them with
you put them
on a bagel with the cream cheese?
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
Right.
That would be amazing. Yeah. I mean, I can't wait till we do a food show. That right there.
Ngaio.
Yeah, you put those with cream cheese. You put them on a fresh bagel. I love homemade bagels.
Toasted bagel?
I will make bagels. Yeah. You don't have to toast bagels if they're fresh, right?
You're
if they
correct.
come right out. And they can be room temperature if they're really, really, really fresh.
This is correct.
Shout out Locksmith Bagels in Seattle. That's my boy.
Shout out Main Street Bagels in Sacramento. We love you.
I have not been there, but I love bagels.
Okay.
I mean, even Noah's Bagels is okay in a pinch. It's okay.
In a pinch.
But it's in a pinch.
It's in a pinch.
Yeah.
Bro, you don't go to Noah's Bagels. You end up at Noah's Bagels.
Exactly. It's not a destination. It's not a destination location, but yeah.
Right. But if you're there,
it's not the worst.
You know, the line at the brunch spot is long. Maybe you get a small bagel while you wait for your actual meal or whatever. Okay.
Well, so there's these freezer bagels, and I don't know the name offhand, but they have robots making these freezer bagels.
Yeah.
They're freaking amazing for what they are. And they're at like boutique. Lenardi's has them in their freezer section. They're made by robots.
We have a new spot, a new bagel delivery service in Sacramento, but I'm just outside their zone because, they make them all small batch by hand and then they deliver them on bicycle.
That's on bicycle.
On bicycle, bro. We're keeping the carbon footprint low.
Low. Dude, that's what's up.
Right. Though. And I'm here for it. And I don't really wish sometimes I wish I still lived in Midtown, but I have a really nice spot and it's not super expensive.
Yeah.
And it's just 5 minutes. I'm just rambling at this point.
Well,
there were
Sacramento,
3 different weeds.
Yeah. You got the blend high.
Yeah. I'm on like 5 different weeds right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 different weeds, 3 types of mushrooms, and some DMT. That sounds like a bad trip.
Partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah.
Or a great one.
Yeah,
Depends on your mindset.
So, where did you get your start with comedy?
San Francisco.
Nice.
It was always kind of funny as a kid. Self-defense mechanism becomes a career, I guess.
Totally.
I was always kind of funny, class clownish a little bit. And then one of my teachers one time in high school asked me to do a set at like the intermission between bands because I was in the band.
Yeah.
So like the one band would play and then I did like 10 minutes. It was terrible.
Right.
I just did other comic stuff.
Yeah.
And then, in college.
Some Eddie Murphy Raw?
Old school, like the Red Fox that I could tell the students and a little, I don't think it was long. It was before Eddie Murphy Raw. It was like around.
Wow.
Eddie Murphy comedian. So I was big. Richard Pryor, Bob Newhart, Steve Martin.
Classics.
Red Fox.
Yeah.
A little Eddie Murphy because I was like 14 when that album
Robin Williams back.
Robin, hero, a monster. Amazing.
Monster.
Goes so fast. So fast.
Classic comedians. Yeah.
Super talented.
Totally.
Super talented.
Yeah.
Utilizing all of his talents on stage. Sometimes I think in stand-up comedy, we can forget that we have a lot of skills,
Yeah.
But if you watch like Richard Pryor, like he's acting his ass off.
Yeah.
While he's doing that. If you watch Robin, he's utilizing all his physicality, all his voices, all his things. Jonathan Winters, all those guys. And even, we talk about 80s, 90s cats, Bill Hicks, Arsenio Hall was very funny.
Yeah, so Arsenio Hall,
guys.
One of the kids I grew up with, my friend's younger brother was the kid that drove I think it was a Ferrari or a Lamborghini on the intro to the show.
Right.
And he's the one who stalled it out. And they that was basically, he didn't do it on purpose, but they ended up leaving it in because they thought it was funny.
Because it's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, my friend
That's
Henning.
what happens.
Yep.
Sometimes the universe also has a sense of humor.
It does.
Exactly.
Yeah, over and over and over again.
Yeah. And so then, I'd been a comic maybe 2 years before starting to become like a more serious cannabis activist. And so I'm always like, let me host your thing. Let me MC for this. We used to throw the occasional cannabis comedy festival, which is what we called it. Cause sometimes we'd wait a year and throw it. Sometimes we'd throw 2 or 3 in a year. Sometimes we'd wait 2 years and throw one. So it wasn't like the annual, it was the occasional.
Totally.
The occasional cannabis comedy festival. And so we're just mixing that and doing doing the Seattle Hemp Fest and just going anywhere I can and, you know, talking about it on stage all the time. Not all the time, but I have other jokes. I talk about quantum physics and sex and being a nerd and all kind of other things. But, you know, it's like
circles back to cannabis.
It's like anchovies on a pizza. You mentioned weed twice. Now you're a weed comic. Not so much anymore that weed is legal. Back in the day when it was against the law, everybody's like, "Oh, he's a weed comic. We don't need him." And now they're like, "We need someone to come over here and talk about weed for a minute."
Yeah.
So sometimes they call me. Sometimes they need someone younger.
Right. Well, so where is the place that you had the most fun doing stand-up at? Or what's the biggest crowd you've done stand-up for?
I don't know. Comedy in the Park, San Francisco.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
I grew up in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Right. So I started like the Holy City Zoo and the Rose and Thorn and a little bit of the other cafe every once in a while.
Yeah.
And my first paid gig was at the El Rio on Mission Street. I don't know, man. I've had some really good shows in some really weird spots. Idaho Falls, Idaho used to have a great club called the Pepper Tree out there. We used to always have a good time out there.
Yeah.
Oakland, San Francisco, I killed them at the Warfield.
Yeah.
Just everywhere, man. Every show's a good show, bro. If you
do you like the small,
right.
more intimate shows or the bigger shows?
I like them all. I just like to stand on stage and talk, man. I'm kind of funny, and you know, it's a different approach.
Yeah.
And how you do the things, you know what I mean?
Sure.
When you're doing the smaller show, you can talk a little faster, especially if they're all right up on you. You can make smaller faces, but more intricate faces.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right? Because everybody can see it's like watching a close-up magician at that point. And then if you're at the big spot where it's 2,500 people or whatever, you got to talk a little slower. You got to wait a little longer because that joke's got to go all the way to the back of that giant freaking auditorium and then come all the way back to you.
Yeah.
You know, you have to make bigger faces and maybe fewer of them because, I mean, now with the modern technology, they got the bigger screen, so it's easier to treat a bigger room like a smaller room. So
sure. Yeah, you see these guys doing stadiums and they have these huge jumbotrons or whatever it is.
Comedy needs face.
It does.
It's a physical activity.
Right.
So you really need a lot of the cues you get from the eyes or from the face or whatever. So
totally.
It helps. It helps.
You mentioned,
although I used to listen to albums like this all the time and I imagine their faces. You know?
Oh yeah, I love doing that back in the day with vinyl.
Comedy of the theater of the mind.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I loved reading books and imagining what was happening. You know, we have these movies now, and everybody's so focused on movies. But you know, I also love books.
Read the book. You can put the movie in your head.
Yeah,
I would cast the whole thing. I'm like, this one's going to be an animated feature because clearly with the science. Blah, 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 blah.
And I get so let down with movies sometimes because of reading the book. I read the book and then I'm like, wait a second, what's going on here?
Two different universes.
Completely different universes.
The book universe is different from the movie universe and you just have to accept it.
Yep, it's that multiverse.
It's the multiverse. You just have to accept that that's the thing.
Right.
I'll tell you a story.
Yeah.
Guy goes to a movie theater and he notices that the dude sitting next to him has brought his dog. All right, that's not so weird. But the thing is, the dog is way into the movie. The dog wags his tail at the happy parts. He whimpers when it's sad. He growls at the villain.
Yeah.
So when the movie's over, turns to the guy who brought the dog. He says, man, I was really surprised to see that your dog enjoyed the movie. And he goes, I was too. He hated the book. Hold for laughs.
Yeah. That's good. Hold for laughs. That is absolutely great.
He hated the book.
He hated the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
So growing up in San Francisco.
That's where I grew up.
Yeah. You mentioned champagne.
Yes.
What else did you like? So you liked weed before they even had names, when it was green bud and brown bud.
Bro. Yeah.
When it was weed.
It was a nickel bag that sometimes you could get for $4. Yeah. Right. Weed was $30 an eighth and it was just weed. Every once in a while, some shit will come. Oh, it's lamb's bread. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Sometimes it had seeds in it. Sometimes it didn't. Right. Sinsemilla was really just getting started.
Right.
Right. It was.
I enjoyed some of that seeded stuff to be 100%.
Sometimes you felt lucky when you found a seed too. Yeah, man. A lot of that Mexican stuff.
There was good and bad. There was different levels to it.
Bro,
there was like the brick. Yeah,
you had to know somebody. Shout out Janet.
Yeah.
Shout out Dr. John. Shout out all my old women. Shout out my boy Doug. Shout out all my 80s and 90s weed people. Dr. John Hudson, man. May he rest in peace. He wasn't really a doctor, but we called him that.
He was like Dr. Pepper.
he got into growing cannabis because he thought his sister had cancer and he had heard that it could help. So he started growing cannabis, and then it turned out he was really good at it. He was really good at growing weed, man. And he used to grow great, fantastic weed. And he got busted back in the day. He had opened a little dispensary. He was selling, because his weed was so good, he was selling it to all the clubs.
Of course.
He got busted by the feds twice.
Ugh.
Right? And I was like, man, why don't you quit? And he's like, I'm crazy. This is an important thing to do.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, all right, man, but just be careful. And then one day the DEA showed up and just scared him off. And they were like, you need to quit right now.
Wow.
And so he disappeared for a while. And then he came back, and then he passed away.
Well, it's so sad.
So sad.
Yeah, I mean.
Welcome to Sad Talk.
Welcome
James
to
Loud.
Sad Talk.
Listen to James Loud talking quietly about sad things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I think if you were to look 100 years in the future, you would think it was kind of crazy, this whole thing that's gone on with prohibition of cannabis. You know, you look 100 years in the past too, I think people would think it was crazy.
Why did people act like that? How could we have been so blind? Why were we so short-sighted?
Well, and then they watch the James Loud podcast and they're like,
The answer is usually either racism or sexism.
Right.
That's usually
probably both.
The answer to why things are not how you want them to be.
Right.
Yeah. And I know it's hard for some people to look at that, but
that's
generally the answer if you go way back.
It's pretty complex too. There's like the financial
No, it's pretty simple. Generally, it's either racism or sexism.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's just racism.
Oh, I agree.
Especially in America. It's really
racism.
Weird. It's really weird. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you'll probably get some comments. And
that's okay.
When I'm watching this on YouTube, I will try to chime in. If you remain cogent and don't lose your mind, we're going to have a reasonable and a reasoned and erudite debate. Yeah. Don't get up here just talking all willy-nilly. Yeah. But a lot of times in America, the reason cannabis was against the law was racism.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Right?
You can as complex as it is, you can break it down.
Right.
All the way down to racism.
Right.
I agree 100%.
Right. That is the reason.
Yeah.
That's the exact reason.
Yep.
Right? Why a lot of cannabis laws were so strict.
Yeah.
Racism.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because black people smoke weed at a little smaller rate than white people.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Right.
So anyway, moving on.
I mean, I think these are important topics for my show though. Yeah. So as
I'm
much,
here.
Yeah,
listen,
I mean,
I'll come on every week. We'll just have a little serious debate for 15 minutes.
Totally.
15 serious minutes with Ngaio Bealum and James Loud.
Absolutely. You know, but it's these kind of things that change people's perspectives, right? And I think
it's true.
If you don't have the hard conversations, how do you change things?
Amen.
So yeah, and I love talking about stuff. I love talking about the hard conversations. I think there's so many we can talk about.
Here's a hard question for you.
Yeah.
Cold water hash or BHO?
So I'm going to get a little bit of hate for this one.
I asked the tough questions, man.
This is the tough questions. So if we look at BHO, as far as processed with solvent, with butane, you actually get the water-soluble terpenes that you don't get from bubble hash.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as for a flavor, mm-hmm. I think that there's nothing wrong with butane. I enjoy the flavor of BHO. If it's processed and made correctly with care,
right.
I think BHO is an amazing product.
A minimal amount of explosions.
Yeah. And I mean, even minimal amount of explosions, eyebrows, all those things intact. Yes.
There was a trend when blasting at home or whatever first became a thing, mm-hmm. you know, the dab heads be like, oh yeah, man, I'm doing that. I'd be like, man, it's dangerous. So what happens is like somebody learn about it. They learn the technique. They get into it. They set themselves on fire and then they quit.
Yeah. San Francisco, there was multiple fires.
There was hotel fires. It was bad.
I've had friends.
I don't mean to giggle about it.
But I think it's honest, you know, and people had accidents.
Yeah.
You know, but as far as like a product, I think the product BHO is a good product. I think bubble hash and rosin are great too.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not true solventless. Water is the universal solvent.
Right.
We talked about it on my show.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with them. I really enjoy those. Now, static hash I'm super stoked on the static hash.
Lay this process on me.
So static hash is where you can do it. The simplest way to do it is to put your basically your keef or mm-hmm. your sift on a piece of parchment and you rub it with the glove, and then whatever sticks to the glove, you brush it off into a bowl And, it's basically using static. You can go
This
over
is just
it.
how to get like the tiniest
And you're
little
getting all the
terpene
trichomes.
glands.
It magnetically draws to the glove. And then, so you're getting this product. There's machines that do it.
That's like a super fancy finger hash.
It is. It's like, and so now we're reinventing the wheel. We're going back to what we did years ago.
Our static hash is lovingly handcrafted by only superior people with small yet delicate hands.
Yeah.
They wave the static and they brush. We use a ostrich plume.
Yeah, and they actually have machines that do it with plates, right?
Ergonomically
magnetized
designed.
plates,
right? Yeah,
and
yeah,
I get excited about that because that is a true solventless product. You're not running water, so you're getting a full,
do
true
you
full
prefer
spectrum.
a press to any of the other concentrating styles?
I mean, I like good bubble hash. I really
like good bubble hash.
Really like good. I like rosin too, but I really like good bubble hash.
Yeah.
I got my old school classic atom smasher. I use still. The 3-hole bowl that has the holes on the side rather than on the bottom. You heat the rod up, you push it down. I love that.
Wow.
Hot knives, we used to do hot knives too.
I have a joke about act about back in my day. We didn't have vape pens. We had 2 hot knives and a broken wine bottle.
Yeah.
Or a toilet paper tube.
Toilet paper, paper towel tube, whatever. Yeah.
You can't really hot knife. No one really has a gas stove.
No, we're going to do a hot knife next time you're on the show though.
Together. All right. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
We're going down that
hash under
hole.
glass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love those old nostalgic things and bringing back the past, showing people how to do it. People think they're reinventing the wheel with some of the stuff that we were doing 30 years ago. There's
everything new is everything old is new again, or some shit like that. I think that's what they say.
Bell bottoms.
Bell.
Oh wait, Jinkos. Hey, Jinkos.
Hey, Jinkos
making a comeback.
Jinkos should have never left. I'm going to say that right now. I love a baggy pant.
Twice the material. Twice the price.
It shows you're affluent.
Yeah, and I mean, I still have like my collector's edition Jinkos. I have some. I have the ones, the corduroy with the wide pipe. What is it? Whale piping or whatever it's called. The wide whale.
Wide whale corduroy.
Yeah, those were good stuff.
I don't have my Jinkos, and I lost my FUBU. I don't know where my FUBU jersey went. I had an old school FUBU jersey.
What were those space boot looking shoes that they had?
Space boots? No, not the Doc Martens.
Not the Doc Martens. They had a specific.
Was there a brand? It wasn't Uggs.
No, it wasn't. It was pre-Uggs. This is in the 90s. And
it wasn't Lugs.
I held on to my shoe. It wasn't Lugs, but I did. Oh no, it was Lugs.
Was it Lugs?
It was Lugs.
It was Lugs.
They look like space boots. They did have the construction looking ones, but the Lugs, the white Lugs. I held on to those till probably 2018. And
how much raving did you do?
A lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
Clearly.
I loved parties.
What's your rave name?
Yeah. We can't tell anybody that. No.
Right?
Really.
Somebody listen to me like, that's him. I know that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was my dealer. No.
That's what, I can't remember who it was, some celebrity, because Harrison Ford was like a handyman.
Right.
And other jobs in LA before he hit big.
Really?
So she said she went to see Star Wars. She's like, why is my weed dealer being a
he was a carpenter and a weed dealer. Yeah, exactly. Classic. But yeah, we had some of the best
weed
raves
from Han Solo.
Dude. That would be epic. But yeah, the raves we had,
would be actually pretty cool.
We saw early days of DJ Danning, Donald Glaude, and Christopher Lawrence was one of my favorites, and Tony and Yano, just to name a few.
Yeah.
But Mark Farina with Mushroom Jazz was such a game changer.
Wow.
You want to start dating yourself, you throw names out like that.
Mark Farina, man, he was all over San Francisco at the time.
He was crushing that. Mushroom Jazz was amazing. For you guys that don't know what I'm talking about, look up Mushroom Jazz. Mark Farina, absolutely amazing.
Farina.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, we had some San Francisco house music was epic, and breakbeats before that.
Ooh. Was that around like the I-Beam and Lips Underground and
the
1015?
The home 1015 for sure. The home base parties. You'd end up at the end up in San Francisco.
You'd end up at the end up. Because the end up would stop serving booze at 2.
Yeah.
And still party till 6 and then start serving like mimosas and breakfast at 6 a.m.
People would look so bad at the end.
Bro.
By 10 in the morning, it was rough. But we had a party called Strawberry Sundays, and that was epic. So there was some after parties. I like the after parties too. Okay. The raves, and then you go to the after parties.
Yeah.
We used to rave for like 4 days in a row sometimes.
That's crazy. Eat, sleep, rave, repeat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Rinse, repeat every day.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But great music, great people. I really enjoyed my childhood because this was in my, pre-21 years.
You're resilient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're resilient. You bounce back from that stuff.
Sleep is for wussies.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. Listening to great music and partying and
that's
smoking
what the coffee
amazing
and the
weed.
Molly's for.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And it's like the one constant with all that stuff was the weed, though. Like we all smoke weed.
Always.
I loved weed back then. I've always loved weed. It's been
Let's see.
The constant.
Lance Red Champagne.
Romulan. Trainwreck.
Odyssey. I remember when Trainwreck just first came out. I remember when White Widow finally made it to the States because we had gone to Amsterdam like a year before that and smoked some White Widow. And everyone's like, oh, this is amazing. Then like a year later, it started showing up in the States.
GDP was a little bit later, but
Madanuska.
The Madanuska or the Alaskan Thunderfuck, that was special.
Right.
Obviously, Northern Lights is a big one.
Northern Lights number 5.
Yeah, Skunk.
Baby.
We had Skunk.
Skunk 1?
We had Skunk 1. We talk about it on my podcast. It was called Strawberry because it was strawberry-sized nuggets.
Right. It was Skunk.
It was the real Skunk.
We had Skunk. There was also, I'm trying to think of the ones before the 2000s. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. But there was some good ones.
There were some good ones.
Yeah, the Shaman.
Good ones. I never smoked. Well, maybe I did, but I don't know.
So many great ones, though. And Northern Lights crosses and stuff.
You could still get a little Thai. There was sometimes some like a
Maui
Wowie.
Yep, there was Maui Wowie. I remember getting that occasionally.
There was one, I don't know what it was, but I used to get this from my boy. I just call it Magic Harvest because my homie knew somebody in Portland who grew, he's retired now, so don't go looking for him. Yeah. But he would harvest on the solstices and the equinox, right? Because like he had it super hippie dialed in on his indoor shit. Right. And it was so flavorful and the high was super pleasant and it was just stinky. Yeah. Like it was stinky. Like I'm driving it down from California. I got it in like 2 Ziplocs in a plastic thing wrapped in another Ziploc and my car still like I had a little bit in my jacket and my homegirl from across the gym was like, "What dog, is that you?" Right? I made a friend because the next door neighbor smelled us smoking it and he came over. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" Yeah. I got to see what's going on.
Yeah, we used to have to put it in coolers. Now, obviously, they have bags that are smell resistant. But coolers were a great way to transport stuff back in the day.
But I'm saying like it was just stinky. It was just one of those ones.
That's how some of the weed was back then.
It's just one of those ones.
The weed back in the 90s, when I was smoking, there was some stuff that was, you couldn't get the smell. Like cat piss was one of those ones. It was so loud. There was nothing, a tenth of a gram would smell your whole house up.
Whole house.
And we're talking about this little tiny piece right here that if it was in your pocket, everybody, everywhere you went would smell it.
Cats come walking in from the next room. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I really like the synonym loud for cannabis because it describes exactly what's going on. That weed is loud, dog. I could hear it. It gives you synesthesia. I could hear you smoking that weed. I could hear that weed from over here.
You open that
bag. Yeah. The bells went off like, right. Yeah. Loud. What's your favorite new synonym? Tree, fire, gas, loud?
I like all of it.
You like all of it?
Fire. That's a good one. I like, yeah. I mean, I still like dank.
Dank. I'm a dank diplomat, so I'm on your side.
Yeah, I like that word. I love
Which means I'm
dank.
uncomfortably moist.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Right. Totally. That's why I like the name dank.
Dank.
Yeah. Dank is just a great name. It's a great description of it, especially that really
you're like a 90s kid. Dank. Hella dank.
Chronic.
Dank.
Crippler.
Right?
We had the Crippler.
Sure. But chronic. I think chronic comes from like habitual, like he's a chronic and habitual user of the cannabis plant.
I like that KGB. We had the KGB.
Killer Green Bud.
We're releasing with the Cannabis Brothers, KGB, for a California gas bill spelled with a K.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
So it would be the CGB.
KGB. We're
California spelled with a K.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
KGB. We're going back to the KGB.
Right. Get you so high you think you're Russian.
Exactly.
But really, you should take your time.
Yeah, that's why we're but yeah, it's a Wi-Fi type ZBX, which is a Skittles backcross.
All right.
And so you get the best of both worlds. You get the candy and you get the gas. And it's definitely heavy on the gas, that nose burning gas with a little bit of great color, great structure, great effect.
How much emphasis do you place on color? Like, are you always trying to get a little pink and a purple in it? Or do you sometimes, I mean, Trainwreck is just bright green.
Okay. So here's my thought on the whole process.
Yeah, lay it on me.
The market loves purple right now.
Always. The market's always loved purple.
Well, there was a time where you couldn't sell purple to save your life. Purple Cadillac. There was GDP and then purple Cadillac. I remember having
problems with purple Cadillac. Well, I never smoked it, but
yeah. And so there was a point where GDP came out, everybody loved it. Then all of a sudden everyone hates it. right? And so it's made with cookies, it brought the color back. But I feel like if you're pheno hunting and you're really going through stuff and you look at the purple pheno versus the green pheno in a progeny of a bunch of different siblings, the ones that are louder are going to be more green, right?
I find a lot of times, you're correct. And I also find a lot of times that if it's too purple, like the high will be nice, but it'll be short-lived. Like, I don't know if because they're picking it early to keep the purple. I don't know what's going on. But
purple sometimes
a lot of times that purple,
but
a lot of times that purple, the high doesn't last as long as you think it's going to last. As you get with maybe something the same way in green. I don't know why that is.
And I think it's very cultivar dependent. Some cultivars are meant to be purple, and a lot of people try to force their shit to be purple, and that's no good.
What beet? You can't just put beet juice in your water?
No, let's go with cold temps. Let's put ice on the plants.
We're going to freeze it, throw in some beet juice. We're going to do all the things.
Oh, yeah. It's like whatever it takes to get it purple, because purple is what sells. And that mentality it's here, but it needs to go away.
You still keep an eye on color when you're picking phenos, or do you just pick 80%
of what I
smell and terps?
I want effect. Right?
So
but at the same time, effect and terps are two different things.
Entourage.
You want the entourage, but how does it make you feel? But really, we go through and take the loudest smelling stuff. We smoke everything. With all those 600, we had like literally everybody smoked everything.
Listen, I can help if you need some help. I'm a former judge of the Emerald Cup. My rates are very reasonable.
We pay in weed. So we basically sit around and talk about it, and we fill out forms, right? With all this stuff.
You have to.
You're
taking it seriously.
We're taking it very seriously because we're trying to find that next new winner. And it takes a lot of work and energy, and you can't just grow it out once. You have to grow it out another time and then compare to the first time.
Now, let me ask you this.
Sure.
On average, how many seasons? We will assume a season is 12 to 14 weeks. Does it take for you to get a good finished pheno from? So you started with 600. So maybe 2 months later, you have 60.
Right.
So on that first batch, you're growing.
And out of those 60, we have superstars already. I know that
you already have five you like.
I would say we have 10 out of those that are superstars where I know they're going to be special.
Okay.
I already know my lines anyway. So we already knew going in that we wanted to pop more of these than other ones because there was going to be winners. You know, my drips that you can get online, there was 20 things. And out of the 20, 15 were keepers where it's like, we got to regrow 15 of these. They're so good. That's very rare. A lot of times I'll pop 100 and we might keep 2.
Okay.
You know, so, and it just depends on how well you know your lines.
Right. But so
what you're breeding for.
So you got that. You're breeding. So let's say we're breeding for seeds and cuts or seeds.
Well, let's say we can breed for commercial viability. What's going to work on the commercial market that's candy gas that yields really well, that's mold and mildew resistant.
Right.
All those things are important.
Quick finishing.
Quick finishing is important. No, quick finishing will make you more money because people want, let's say you have something that finishes in 45 days.
Yeah.
You can get 9 rips per year.
That's what I'm saying.
9 harvests per year, right? And so there's value in something like that. And now if you have something that finishes in 42 to 45 days, which is very rare.
Isn't that fast?
It is, but it's not impossible. But we have one that finishes in 42 days to 45 days. You get 3 pounds of light. It has over 20% THC. It has 25%.
3 pounds of light. How tall is it? Is it bushy?
It's bushy, but it's very vigorous. And it's also purple. Right. And so
how's the mold resistance on a bushy, fast growing plant like that?
The thing is
does it have time to get moldy?
It doesn't have time, right? And so these things have a lot of commercial viability. As far as is the terp profile the best? No, but it's really high in THC. So for processing for extraction, when we're processing for hash, it's a really good one, right? And it has potential for that. So there's different
hash
end uses.
Plant. That's an old school one.
That is a great old school one.
Wow.
G13.
G13.
How about Vortex? You remember the Vortex?
I don't remember the Vortex.
Yeah.
I
How about
remember
the Aota? All of the above.
I remember the Aota. I also remember the Sage, the Sativa Afghani genetic equivalents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from Adam Dunn.
Genetic Equilibrium.
Yeah, THC.
The old school DJ Short Blueberry.
I do. I remember multiple blueberries. We had the Oregon blueberry. We had the DJ Short blueberry. Very different.
Did you ever smoke any of that? There was a New York blueberry diesel out of Portland one time.
I remember blueberry diesel for sure. I don't remember New York blueberry diesel.
All blueberry on the inhale and then all diesel on the exhale. I haven't seen it.
That sounds amazing.
Oh, it was so good. Oh,
yeah, strawberry Durban diesel.
Ooh,
that was special.
I went to high school with him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was some old school winners. We had some special stuff back in the day.
Bring them back. Who's got the seed vault? You probably have something.
I do have I have a really special seed vault. There's all kinds of stuff from all over. I think if
I were to write a heist movie, we would just be taking some samples from somebody's seed vault.
Yeah. When we got seeds, we got lots.
I hadn't noticed. Is that what those are?
Yeah. Those are all the B, C, and D grade seeds.
Oh, really? So which one is this one?
Yeah, that one is, most of those don't germinate. And that's why we use them. We run them through a machine.
You feed them to the parrots?
You could, but we use them as a prop.
It's like you put a hole in them, put the hole in the playing deck at the card deck at the casino, and then you can just take them home with the old ones.
Exactly.
Okay. Because I was wondering.
Yeah, and then we got coffee there. So when you're smelling and you're pheno hunting, you're going through these things, you can clean your palate.
Of course.
Gotta love coffee.
I know you do a lot of pheno hunting and whatnot in your life, but do you also judge events and whatnot? Like I've judged for High Times and the Emerald Cup and some of the early cups. I used to throw. I threw the LA Medical Cannabis Cup. I think we threw 3 of them in LA in the mid 2000s, like 2005 through 2007. I think that was a good time.
Well, and I throw events. I did the Dabadoo last year for Mila.
Dabadoo, yeah, Mila the Hash Queen.
Yeah, my friend Sam, Rosentech, and Focus V.
Yeah,
we did that together. We did the Dabadoo. We're going to do it again this year. And
need a host?
Yeah, I love hosting.
There you go.
Yeah. So we might need a host. We might need a host though, a real host. I'm just the guy who hosted, but that doesn't mean we don't need a real host.
No.
But yeah, you definitely need to come to the event and try all.
When is it?
We haven't picked a date.
Okay, let me know.
As soon as we know, we will. Yeah, I'd love to include you. That'd be great.
I love to be included.
Yeah, and those kind of events are
just so nice to be asked.
Yeah. Well, and it's so nice to have a good MC.
Oh, it often is. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there's good ones, there's bad ones, there's everything in between. I've seen it all, and that goes across the board with everything.
That goes across the board with everything. Yeah. Everything is everything, and everything in between.
Yeah.
What do you think? Which way do you think the genetic market is headed this year? Like, is gas making a comeback? Sour gas.
OG Kush. I would love to see it all come back.
So you predict a return of the classics, retro, vintage, throwback jersey weekend.
Absolutely. The bell bottoms are coming back.
All the way back to bell bottoms. This is Oaxacan. This is Panama Red.
I would love to see
I've noticed Acapulco Gold, and I don't know if it's the old school Acapulco Gold, but people claim to have Acapulco Gold.
You're seeing it
in
a
few different spots. I'm seeing it in Seattle. I'm seeing it in a couple other spots.
I think the trap world isn't ready for it. You know, the trap scene, probably not. They're always about the hype, right? But I see on the rec market, people wanting Acapulco Gold, people wanting Blue Dream, people wanting Panama Red. If you had it,
you buy the Acapulco Gold, you give it to your granddad or your dad. Dude. They're like, oh man, right? Happy birthday.
I also see that 1-to-1 coming back, the THC CBD 1-to-1 for people that don't like it high.
I'm going to go so far as to say I like a 3-to-1. I like a 3 CBD to 1 THC.
I do too. And there's a place
you can
for
smoke it all day while you do your things and not a lot of this. And you know, we can get into too much THC is not bad, but stop judging.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, and also sometimes I don't want to be that THC high for my whole day. I'm trying to do a bunch of stuff. You just want to
feel good.
Just trying to, that's
what you like. White Thorn Rose. I love White Thorn Rose. It's like one of those things. Nice. I feel like that's one of those ones where you smoke it, you feel good, you feel great, and it's the smell,
just the smell
taste.
Of it.
And it's not everybody's jam, and that's okay.
I don't know. I haven't met one person who smoked this with me and was like, I don't know. It's not my thing.
Haven't either, but you'll see people in the chat that are like, it's not strong enough. It's like,
where are they strong enough?
Yeah, but
that's not the point. Dude, it's like when you go out drinking, do you always just do shots?
Of 151?
Right. Are you just chugging Everclear right out the bottle?
Grain alcohol? Are you just shooting grain alcohol?
Catch a buzz.
Yeah, and I believe that's the beauty of it. You can smoke, and the rosin too. It's one of those ones you can dab after dab.
Sometimes you just want to catch a nice buzz, man.
It's so great.
I'm going to the movies. I'm not trying to be crazy high. I'm going to a place that's very loud where I don't really know anyone. So I'm not trying to be crazy high.
Right.
Or whatever. Right. I'm just trying to have a nice little, not afraid to talk to people buzz, a little smile on my face.
There's a time and a place for everything.
Find me by the snacks.
I don't have to smoke Red Congo all the time. You know, although I do like Red Congo, but Red Congo makes me giggly and laugh uncontrollably.
Yeah, so you got to be careful.
Yeah.
That's all.
Totally.
That's all. Pick the right weed for the right activity.
Smoke responsibly.
Right? You're an adult, hopefully.
Well, I act like a kid half the time.
You're still an adult.
Right.
Right. What's that old, people often confuse me for an adult because of my age.
Right. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all just big kids trapped in old people's bodies. So I'm 47. I'll be 48 in a month.
Congratulations. I will be older than that.
Yeah.
In a month.
Well, you've aged well.
Thank you.
I think it's
Thank
the
you very
cannabis.
much.
Yeah, it's probably the lifestyle. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Old
it's
stoners are always cuter than old drunks.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
It's just the argument. It's hard to argue the quality of life with cannabis versus the quality of life with alcohol.
I mean, listen, not everything's for everybody. Some people can be fairly healthy, responsible drinkers.
Yeah.
It's a social thing. The French are pretty good at it.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not against cannabis. I'm not a non-drinker. I will definitely have a beer on a hot day or every once in a while.
Oh, I got a full bar over here.
Every once in a while you should, not for everybody, but every once in a while, the right move is to get a little hammered.
Yeah, I think it's great.
But not necessarily you're doing that every day or every weekend.
No, but if I go to Spain, I want to go drink some good wine with my friends, have some good food, and make some good memories.
We're going to spend 6 hours eating some long-ass dinner, drinking all the wine, and then you kind of stumble home singing. Maybe you end up at somebody's private chess club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I'm with it.
4 a.m, you're rolling up joints, hanging out, a good old time after you've been drinking. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
That's how it's supposed to go. That's America. Well, that's Spain, actually.
Yeah.
So I'll see you out there then. Where are we eating?
Absolutely. Pasadillas del Pep.
Okay.
There's so many good places.
So many.
Vaso de Oro is another hidden gem.
I haven't been there.
Pasadillas del Pep. There's no sign on the front door. You walk down this alleyway.
Okay. This is what we're going to do. We're going to have to pick a day.
Yeah. So I'm throwing a party again.
And we're going to wander around. Yeah. I'm going to take you to a spot.
Yeah.
You're going to take me to a spot.
Oh, yeah. So this is my city. Yeah. And I love it.
Barcelona's your city.
It's my city.
City.
I spend a lot of time. Well, I could be your city too, but it's definitely my city. If I think of all the cities out there, San Francisco, Barcelona, those are my cities.
I often start looking for apartments. I don't think I would ever move, but sometimes when I'm there, I'm like, well, I could live in this part of town. I could have a little pied a terre right over here.
Well, it's so affordable, right?
Not like it used to be, bro.
Well, it's still pretty affordable. So during COVID,
it's no longer cheap. It's still inexpensive.
When COVID hit, we were looking at signing, like literally the day before they were getting the paperwork typed up for an apartment.
Yeah.
I think it was either 15 or 1,200 euro a month, which is very affordable.
That's not bad. That's very affordable.
And you're living
probably had a little balcony.
It's at Barceloneta, and it's like walking distance to everything.
Yeah.
But that's way cheaper than here, you know, and that's like a vacation apartment basically.
Right.
And luckily, COVID happened when it did, and not the day before, because I would have signed that lease and been obligated to pay.
Stuck. Right.
But as it happened, we didn't end up signing the lease. I do love spending time there. Some of my best friends.
I love Barcelona.
One of my best friends lives in Barcelona
so much.
It's like a shout out to my friend Abba.
Shout out to Abba.
Yeah, he's a good friend. We've been friends for a long time.
What's your social club of choice?
Social club of choice. There's so many, but I spend a lot of time at Strain Hunters.
Of course you do. It's the most Amsterdam style of the ones.
It is.
And they probably have the best food, although all their food is kind of sugary and desserty, but it's all really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very expensive. It's very comfortable, and they got the booths. Yeah, it makes sense.
But yeah, I mean,
it makes sense. I like Dr. Do.
Dr. Do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many good clubs over there. I think
so many. I should write a list. Go to my Patreon next week, and I'll write a list of my favorite cannabis social clubs.
Yeah, Bloom Room's another good one. You're looking for some exotic flower.
Bloom is nice. Yeah.
It's just a
La Colada. Those guys love the concentrates out there.
Yeah, they know concentrates really well out there. I haven't been to the new Doja. Doja's got a spot out there. I haven't been there yet. There's a couple new ones that I haven't been to. But Barcelona is just such a great city, and everything's very convenient to get to.
Dude, you can walk around everywhere. You can find like so many good local weed clubs, because it's technically illegal, so you're just supposed to smoke in the club.
So the best,
although Barcelona isn't as strict as other spots in Spain, but they're cracking down because
a lot of tourists
don't know how to act.
Yeah. Well, 10 years ago, you could roll a joint in your restaurant of choice.
Yeah.
10 years ago, you can't do that anymore.
No. What's your go-to tapas?
Vaso de Oro, which I shouldn't be telling people, so then it might ruin it for everybody because it's so good. But Vaso de Oro,
that cup of gold.
Cup of gold, yes. And they have really good beer there, but also nice tapas. Pinchos is a great spot for tapas.
Okay.
But Pasadillas del Pep is my favorite place, but there's so many good restaurants.
Like I say, we'll spend a day, bro. We'll get small bites. This is one of the things. I'm a grazer, so I love Barcelona. I love Bilbao because they're graze friendly.
Jamon Iberico.
A little bit. The pork gives me the wind.
Yeah.
So I will definitely have a few slices of it here and there, but I can't go crazy on it because then all my compatriots would be mad at me.
Yeah.
And my flirting opportunities would be severely diminished.
Right.
Right.
Understood. Totally.
Understood.
But tapas are amazing in Barcelona.
I did go on a quest for the best papas bravas one time.
Oh,
which
man.
seems there's so many different ways.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many great places. Barcelona has a good one.
I think your producer's going to stare at us because we're just going to start
talking
about food and travel again. Like, hey, this is a weed show, you guys.
I know. But now here's how we switch it up. When I'm high, I love
the
eating
munchies, right?
Pulpo a la gaella, which is one of my favorite things, which is octopus. Yeah, with the potatoes and the olive oil and the paprika.
Yeah.
And when it's done right, it is absolutely amazing.
I don't always eat the octopus because I feel bad because I feel like we should be learning from them more than we should be eating them.
You watch that Octopus Teacher?
No, even before then.
Oh, really?
Even before then. They're clearly...
They're intelligent, sentient beings.
Right. Clearly.
Absolutely.
Clearly. So we're just kind of being... Not that cows are not intelligent, sentient beings as well.
No, and like...
But
so I have this relationship with alpacas. I worked on a farm.
Yeah.
And we had a farm up in Lake County. We worked on there and they had alpacas. There was 6 of them. And I had a relationship with them. They would know when I was coming. They would come greet me. They would give me hugs.
Yeah.
They'd literally put their neck on my head. One time my friend came and he saw these alpacas coming up to me, giving me hugs. And I'm talking to these alpacas like we're friends and they're like looking at me.
Because you were.
Communicating. Oh yeah, totally. And I would go smoke weed with them. They had red eyes and I'm like, man, I hope my eyes aren't this red. But I bring my friend and he's looking at this and he gets all excited. So he starts walking towards him. He gets spit on from 6 directions.
Like,
he literally couldn't cover his face fast enough from both sides.
Bro, we don't really know you.
Yeah. They were like, who the fuck are you?
You can't just be walking up on alpacas.
No.
Yeah. You got to make friends.
Yeah. And alpacas are amazing. You know, it's like, that's my spirit.
And they're delicious. No, I'm kidding. I've never had one.
I've never had one either. But, you know, I saw on some cooking shows, I've seen them as like the mystery basket where they get the alpaca.
Alpaca. Well, you treat it like a lamb, right? You slow roast it. Well, you don't have to. Well, you don't have time if it's like
you make it like a camel, alpaca. All But
I feel like alpaca is a little leaner than camel. Well, I don't know.
I've made camel tacos before, like literally.
I haven't eaten your camel taco.
That's not an inside joke.
But I've also had. Well, we might be talking about 2 different camel tacos.
Yeah. But moose knuckles, camel tacos.
Camel toe taco is one of my favorite treats. It's a delicacy. It's not an acquired taste.
Right. So
I liked them from the beginning.
Hammer band.
What? I can't have a succulent Chinese
meal?
About
moose knuckles? Like
you gonna pickle them with your Scandinavian ass?
We pickle moose knuckles. It's reindeer and moose knuckles, dude. Like Scandinavian delicacy.
Reindeer and moose knuckles. This sounds like a private eye show coming to Fox. It's gonna be on Tubi next week.
Yeah.
It's an autistic deer who knows a lot.
Yeah.
And a lady in tight pants. Reindeer and moose knuckles. Yeah. This fall on Tubi.
Dude. We can go any direction with that.
Everywhere you want. Everywhere you want.
So where do you see the world going with cannabis?
I personally would like to have it where I can buy Moroccan hash the same way I buy French wine. You know what I mean?
Me too.
Right? If I want a Spanish haze and a Moroccan hash from my local spot, you should be able to do that. I should be able to get New York diesel from New York or whatever they're growing in Maine and Vermont right now.
I'm all about charas as long as no child labor violations happen.
Well, yeah. You got to be careful with that. But yeah, charas, all that stuff.
But you know the charas, the best charas comes from the tender hand. Right.
I have a bit in my act where I talk about the best hash, of course, made from the thighs of the virgins after they run naked through the cannabis fields 3 days before the harvest. But it's hard to find a virgin out here.
Yeah.
But so I would like that to happen, and you see it getting closer, right? Yeah. Canada's legal, Germany's legal, Switzerland will probably be legal in the next few years.
You can buy Heineken. You better be able to buy weed from everywhere just the same way.
In Switzerland, you can buy hemp. You can buy high CBD hemp in the liquor store already. Like
when it's up to 1% THC, so it will have an effect on you.
It will have we in the beginning, people used to say CBD is not psychoactive, which is not true. It is psychoactive, but it's not psychoactive the way that THC is psychoactive.
No, it does pass the blood-brain barrier. So in that regard, it's sure.
It definitely has side effects that are very pleasant.
Psychedelic? No.
Psychoactive. Yes.
Yeah, and sometimes the stuff...
Which is different than being an active psycho.
Yeah. That's much better than being an active psycho, which there's plenty of those.
And active psycho on psychoactives. Never turn your back on a drug.
I don't know. Double negatives. You never know.
You never know. They could be hella smooth.
Yeah, it might.
You never know.
You might correct things.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, we live in this strange time. It's a beautiful time, but it's still a strange time. But I think it's always been a strange time, right? I'm sure as far back
every
as you
day
go.
is a strange day, but it's a little stranger than it usually is.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of tension,
though, right?
There's a lot of people who want to be emperor.
Yeah, you know, and it's,
this is why you shouldn't always teach the classics. These guys want to be Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, we live in an age where there's so much information. It can be for better or for worse.
You have to be able to discern for yourself, and you have to make good choices.
Yeah. Well, I didn't talk about why I'm not smoking today, but I had surgery last week, and so they gave me a gum graft.
Oh, ow.
At that age. They've been telling me I need a gum graft for 20 years. Finally
got one. Congratulations.
Yeah, and so now I can't smoke though. And it was,
for how much longer?
Probably 2 more days.
How many edibles are you on?
That's how it goes. I can eat some edibles, rosin gummies. I love rosin gummies.
It's not that you're not utilizing the medical benefits of THC.
It's just that you're not smoking. Yeah, and I drink this Rise coffee. It's amazing.
Right.
It's mushroom.
Got the mushrooms in there. Are they a sponsor?
No, they're not.
Maybe they should be. You should talk about them.
I love. Yeah, I'm all hyped up. So, but
on Rise, I'm on Rise and edibles.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, you combine that with THC.
If you pour a little moonshine, or I was going to say, if you pour a little if you pour a little corn liquor into that coffee, then it's Rise and Shine.
Rise and Shine. Yeah.
It took so long to get that. That would have been so much funnier.
Orange Sunshine.
You could put Orange Sunshine in your
Rise and Shine.
Wow. Rise and Shine.
For those of you that know what we're talking about.
Right. Good morning, starshine.
Yeah.
The earth says hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like getting a nice warm hug from your ancestors.
Something like that.
Yeah. Well, that's
but not in the scary way.
No. And that's what Johnny said about Whitethorn Rose. It's like getting a nice warm hug from your ancestors. I love that saying. I think it's great.
That's so funny. I showed somebody years later, a friend of mine had gone to Humboldt State.
Yeah.
And I got a really good bag of train wreck from a homie. And so I handed her the bag. She opened it. She's like, yeah, it smells like college.
Nice. Yeah.
Remember when train wreck first started
coming down? I know that exact
smell
there? Because I'm,
Yeah. Train wreck.
And we had BC Bud too. So we had the Orange Crush.
So much BC Bud. So much BC Bud. Everywhere.
Yeah. Everywhere. Orange Crush, to name some of the
Juicy Fruit.
Yeah.
It all blurs together.
But there's the Trinity. That was one of my favorites. That was
Trinity.
It was strong. That stuff was so strong.
It would hit you.
It would hit you. It would punch you in the face.
Yeah, that's before a 9-pound hammer or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you ever?
A lot of that
Jägermeister out of Oregon. Yeah, but that was like mid 2000s though.
Those were mids too. Like I never got excited about Jaeger. I think I got it on it late. So when I tried it, dog shit from Oregon was great.
You had to go up there and find your homie who actually couldn't just, because I can agree that sometimes you get it down here or whatever, you see it somewhere else, you're like, what, this isn't the.
It's kind of like how Blue Dream is hated on. I'm sure there's Jaeger.
You got to get the right one. Yeah,
you get somebody put a bunch of love into it, it's probably going to be amazing.
Yeah. Or they just called it Jaeger.
Yeah.
You know, there's still
that
danger.
Oregon.
Still
there's the permafrost.
Then you had Green Bodie on a little while ago.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's from up there, right?
He is. He's from Eugene. And his flower is next level.
He's a monster.
Yeah, it's so good. The effect from his flower is so special.
You got any left?
No, I do at the house. Yeah,
I'll follow you.
Right. Yeah, I mean, come back tomorrow. We'll burn it.
I wish I could, man. I have so much to do.
We'll just get you on every day.
Yeah. Fine. My rates are very reasonable.
Nice.
You have to pay me a lot of weed though.
Yes. Right.
Now I got to go sell it.
Seriously. Yeah, well, I mean,
when I ran the magazine, people would always like, we want to buy an ad, but can we pay you in weed? I was like, no, you give me an extra job.
Yeah,
like the day I could go to the printer and be like, let me give you 5 pounds. You run 30,000 copies. This is the day you could give me a quarter pound.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Quarter pounds aren't worth it what they used to be either.
Yeah. But now I gotta I gotta turn around and sell it to make the money. Like I can't pay in weed.
No.
They take cash.
Hugs and smiles don't cut it anymore.
Yeah. No, as much as I like a handshake and a pat on the ass.
Yeah.
I can't apply. You can't go to your landlord like, we really like living here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Totally.
So
But yeah, so if you had one piece of advice for your younger self,
take a marketing class.
Oh yeah, I love it.
It's all marketing these days, right? At least in comedy too, because you know everybody. Also take a video editing class, apparently, because I just thought I was going to be a comic. I didn't know I had to be like a video editor and a sound mixer and a master marketer and all this stuff. But that's a lot of what it comes down to in a lot of ways. I mean, it's always been that a little bit, but even more and more now, and especially now because everybody's just expected to do all those things. Social media is like a whole nother job. And so now you have to be a social media person. Yeah. You're also a stand-up comedian. You also got to write things, and you also have to be content. Not, when I say content creator, but you have to be a production facility.
Yeah.
Right. So those are the things.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
So what do you have planned for the future for yourself?
Tranquility, inner peace.
Yeah.
Profitability.
Yeah.
All those things. I'm going to be, like I said, I'll see you in Barcelona for the International Cannabis Business Conference. I'll be at the New Mexico Growers Cup in mid-March. That's why I got to come back from Spain.
Yeah.
That's like the 22nd in Albuquerque. We're working on some things in the Desert Hot Springs. I'll be at the Missouri Growers Cup. I'll be at the Oregon Growers Cup. I don't think they're doing an Emerald Cup this year, so I probably won't be there, but I'll be.
Has that been canceled officially? Because I thought they had
I don't know.
They had a 5-year contract in Oakland, so I believe.
Last I heard,
yeah,
but it's been months since I talked to those guys, so I have to send some emails. But last I heard, they weren't going to do another one.
We're getting Tim on the show.
It's hard. It's hard not to do those because they are so much fun.
I love Emerald Cup.
So
you know what?
To me, the Emerald Cup is the one that really I think takes time to celebrate the plant itself and not just party.
Well, the problem with the Emerald Cup is it's supposed to be the Harvest Cup, right? It's the Harvest Cup that happens after outdoor is done, where you can share your outdoor with everybody else. Because I grow outdoor in my backyard, so I love bringing fresh outdoor to show everybody.
Yeah. And everybody gets together to start trading seeds and getting together for March or for April when they're going to plant.
Well, and all the stress is gone for the year, pretty much. Hopefully,
right before you all leave for Thailand.
Yeah, exactly.
Guy who drives the truck just got back from LA. It was a good week. You grew the right things. That Purple Haze Diesel is crushing it right now.
Totally. So if people are trying to find more about you,
just come to the house.
Just come to the house.
Sacramento, South of Thomas. Yeah. Ask around. They know.
Right.
I'm on most of the social things.
Right.
Blue Sky, NGAIO 420, Ngaio 420, Instagram, Ngaio 420. Also, Puff Puff Passport.
Yeah,
on Instagram too. Because if you put in Ngaio Bealum, they will probably take you to Puff Puff Passport because I'm lightly shadow banned. But if you go to Ngaio 420, I'll pop right up. And I'm going to start posting more stuff on the Puff Puff Passport. That's it. Blue Sky, Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook.
Yeah,
Instagram. I lurk on Snapchat, so you can find me on Snapchat as well. I'm not on the Tumblr. Do people still do Tumblr?
I don't know.
I'm not on that.
I don't know. I'm not on that. I was never on TikTok or Tumblr. Those
never once.
I mean, I have accounts, but I never really enjoyed either one of those apps.
No, I've never been on TikTok. TikTok does not like weed, so why would I hang out with those guys?
Exactly.
And they make it so hard. I'm not one of those guys, dude. I came up here to talk about weed. You can't, I'm not really trying to put broccoli in my grinder, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm not trying to spell it OUI''D. Like I come from back in the activist days where you stood up for it, but it's so harder now because back then you could just stand up for weed and they can't really kick me off my job. I'm fucking self-employed, so I can do what I want, right? But now I got to rely on this Instagram to get my word out, to do my marketing.
Right, and there's censorship, heavy censorship for us.
I can't even just like, you can't tell anybody where to get it. You can't tell them what it is. Like I can sometimes, if I post a weed meme, then they don't care. They think that's hilarious. They'll spread it around to everybody. But if I post some shit like, this is beta-caryophyllene, it's found in these sort of strains, here's a picture of a plant, blah, blah, blah. They're like, hey, education goes against our guidelines.
Well, Mark Zuckerberg claims that he's going to stop the censorship or reduce the censorship, only censoring really bad stuff. We'll see what happens with that.
I think what he's talking about is political ideas, which we don't have time because we've been here 2 hours already. Is he's going to try to stop people censoring that, which is a whole different set of disinformation. But them restricting the flow of cannabis education, I think, will continue because it's...
I wish it didn't.
Well, of course not. And it shouldn't. It shouldn't be a thing. People come to Ngaio 420 because you want to see weed and weed related. I'm like the Hank Hill of cannabis. Right. I mean, I don't sell weed and weed related accessories, but of course you come to learn about cannabis or to hang out in the cannabis culture. So not being able to do that is a drag. Go to my Patreon in Ngaio 420. Nice. Then we can talk more about it. And it's only like $1. Yeah. So get into it.
I'll be there.
I'll see you there.
Absolutely.
Thanks again, man.
Man, thank you so much for
coming on the show. I hope your mouth feels
today.
better.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you next week.
Absolutely. I'll see you next week. We'll do this all over again. Thank you. Oh man, what a great episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click down below.